This is all you.
Here again with Clayton Allen, Buckeye Fasteners. We're at the Buckeye booth. Clayton, I keep running into you at these fastener events.
I'm always here, aren't I?
How does this keep happening to us? And also, what is it that you're wearing here, and why are you wearing it?
It's a old rusty bolt keg, and it's just to go along with our theme of the old rusty bolt that we have here at the show every year.
Yes, so. I see that. It does say old rusty bolt on it. And oh, lo and behold, we're here for the keg tapping at the annual event.
Annual IFE event. So it's a great time, and everyone should try it sometime. So.
Old Rusty Bolt is a refreshing beverage for any fastener trade show floor, is it not?
It is. It's the most refreshing beverage for any trade show floor.
And it's consumed by Buckeye Fasteners and staff whenever appropriate, correct?
Whenever appropriate, which is always, but...
Clayton Allen, thanks for taking a minute, and God bless you for wearing that costume.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. Yes, it's another online, on-demand edition of predominantly fastener-related talk radio, everybody. We're glad you joined us. Eric Dudas with you, and I'm joined by Brian Musker. We're back from the International Fastener Expo out there in Vegas, the Fastener Show, and we're going to go wall-to-wall pretty much this time, Bri.
It's good, and it's good to be back. The show's great, but, there's a lot of talking and organising, and, now I'm back in the swing of things I have to do here.
This is one of the last details that we have. We'll be taking care of business, and stay tuned to the very end of the podcast today, folks. There's one piece of business I know some of you are waiting for, and that's who won the FCH Thread Shad crankbait. We'll be making that announcement at the end of today's show, but lots of details to cover between now and then. You did a great job manning the Fastenertron, as you do every year, Bri, but I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of used to this, okay? It used to be, I have to say, when we first started off, I used to get nervous about, in case someone would come up and ask me a question I couldn't answer. Then I found out that there's so much variety of fasteners on FCH that there's almost nothing that someone can ask me that I can't find, except in this time. And I had a question, and I could not find any reference to this type of thread they were looking for, and it wasn't until later I think it was Jackie, said, well, they're probably looking for a British thread. It was about cars. They're worrying about British cars. And it never occurred to me that it would have been a Whitworth or a British Standard fine thread.
Oh, come on. You?
I know, me, who grew up with British Standard fine thread. See, this is what the effect of these ghastly bloody UNF and UNC threads in America do,
Well, it's a big fastener world out there, that's for sure.
I couldn't believe it. I'm the one that I've set all these pages up for BSF threads, and never occurred to me. I just couldn't work out why I couldn't find any reference to this thread pitch, and it was really weird. So, my mistake, okay?
Well, you got right back on your game. Good job, Bri. I think most prospective FCH users and a lot of our valued members who stop by to say hello got a very good view of what you're up to these days. We'll be talking about that again as the show unfolds. It's episode 134 of the podcast. This time we're publishing on November 16th, 2018. And to round up this year's International Fastener Expo, we're joined by perennial trade show reviewer and fastener entrepreneur, Jake Davis of BTM Manufacturing, along with everyone's favorite riveter. She's Rosa Hearn from BBI.
Yeah, she quickly had to tie her little handkerchief on, the red one that goes to the roads of the riveter.
She wore many different costumes, it being Halloween and all. And she wears a lot of hats in the fastener industry, her involvement with Wi-Fi, and it seems like every time you turn around, Rosa turns up. We've also got a wonderful montage of on-the-floor interviews that the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey conducted for us. She does a great job every year. I think you'll get a kick out of this one. Hey, Bright, she showed up at the awards ceremony for the Young Fastener Professionals Awards and the Hall of Fame inductions. We have interviews with Lynn and the award recipients during the opening segment of the show today.
Good. Yep.
Plus, Mike McNulty's here with the FTI report for October. Good news there. The numbers seem to be rallying back a little bit, and we've got a wonderful lineup of sponsors supporting all this for us, Bri. Shout them out.
Yes, we do. We have great sponsors, and we saw a lot of them at the show. The title sponsor of Fully Threaded Radio is Stillfast. Stillfast, for service you deserve and people you trust. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded Radio are Buckeye Fasteners, BTM Manufacturing, InSequel Software, Mack Brooks Fastener Fair USA, ND Industries, Parker Fasteners, Volt Industrial Plastics, The Worth Group, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. So thanks to you who came to the show and came to see us or brought us refreshments or provided them. So it was great to see you all there, okay? Yeah, I had Jake Davis brought me a cup of coffee especially. It was very nice of him, actually.
Did you keep your Zarf, Bri?
I have no idea what Zarf is. Is it some sort of serious medical condition? I thought I'd got rid of that before the show started.
It very well could be. No, the Zarf is actually a new piece of coffee lingo that's entered the cultural dialect with the onset of all the fancy coffees and things. You know, times have progressed. You don't just pull into a gas station and get a cup of Joe for 25 cents anymore. You might have noticed.
Yeah, well, we noticed that in the late 60s, okay?
Funny how time flies. U-Bolt Blend Coffee was presented by BTM Manufacturing. Jake Davis was out there serving it up, and on each cup was a BTM Manufacturing Zarf. What's a Zarf? Well, I just found this out too, okay? I'm not Joe Hip, believe me. This is a name that the baristas all use, and apparently it's a very ancient name for what otherwise would be known as a cup sleeve.
Oh, okay. That sounds very weird.
You know, that cardboard thing?
Yeah. How could they? Okay. That's interesting. I have to go into Google and look all that up.
It's a Zarf, man. Get with it.
I'm clearly not.
So I saved my BTM Zarf.
I never heard of that word in my life before, okay?
We'll be talking more about U-Bolt Blend Coffee during the main segment today.
We will.
Hey, folks, get with us anytime. We'd love to hear your comments and your feedback, questions, and so forth about the podcast. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com. We're also out there on Twitter where the handle's Fully Threaded. I received a request via one of the aforementioned communication methods from our friend Jim Green out there at Fastco. I'd like to congratulate him for successfully renewing his FCH account. He had to actually go in, log in, click the renew button. He said it was very gratifying. And he said, hey, man, you better shout me out. So here we are, Jim. We love Fastco. Thanks for being longtime FCH members.
Yeah, very long members, actually.
Also have one other PSA to shout out, Bri. John Riddell, he's the big honcho over there at Solution Industries.
Yep.
Well, somebody, I bet it's an accident, but they walked off at the Fastener show with John's bobblehead statue of himself, which is a one-of-a-kind, kind of a sentimental thing. It was sitting at their trade show booth, and it vanished sometime during the show.
Wow. Probably overnight. It's when we lost our Steadfast monkey.
Well, I hope not. I hope that it's somebody who is within earshot of this podcast, and if you accidentally walked off with John's bobblehead, or if you know somebody who might have done that, he'd really like to get it back. It was a one-of-a-kind.
Yeah, okay.
One other piece of business before we get on with the show. We made an announcement in connection with the Fastener show this year, and that had to do with the Fastener Training Institute Scholarship Program, Bri.
Right. We had lots of people asking us about that, actually, and we didn't have good answers at the time.
We were originally slated to make the announcement at the show. It didn't work out exactly the way we planned, but we did, the day after, make the announcement via Twitter. Lynn and Sue provided us with the winner a couple days in advance, and it took a little while to get the certificate and everything back from the Fastener Training Institute. And this year, for the 5th annual scholarship, the winner was, and I hope I pronounced this right, Junior Veroy of Tornipernos, which is a fastener distributor based in Honduras, Bry.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. The reach of fully threaded radio, okay?
Congratulations, Junior.
Yes, I remember Lynn discussing with me and Sue that the entries were really, really pretty good quality, high quality, but two of them were close and difficult to judge between.
There were many exceptional entries this year. In addition to Junior Veroy, there were 5 runners-up that were awarded partial scholarships from the Fastener Training Institute. I got word from Joe Morris over at the FTI Bry that the winner will be attending Fastener Training Week in Cleveland in December. So he'll actually be in my neck of the woods. I hope to meet him in person, and that'll be really cool.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Okay.
You ever been to Honduras, Bry?
No, I have not. Nope.
I haven't either.
Actually, I've never been to Central America except to Costa Rica, to tell you the truth, this year. So I've done a lot of traveling in South America. In fact, I spent 2 years there, but I never have been to Central America except before this year.
Well, it's just south of Belize, and I could tell you this, the bone fishing off the Keys in Belize is really good, and I wonder if he's got any connections for us that maybe we can go down there and do a little bone fishing. I tell you, that is a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember your trip to Belize. Okay? Of course, to us in the Empire, it was British Honduras.
All roads lead back to fishing somehow, don't they, Bry?
Usually for us, okay?
Hey, Bry, don't you love it when washers stay put?
Well, we expect them to, okay?
Well, you do if they're ND Industries stay put washers.
Oh.
Installing multiple components can be frustrating, time-consuming, and a costly process. Stay Put simplifies the job by making practically any metal washer self-retaining. Get out to www.ndindustries.com/stay-put. Learn all about it. ND Industries.
Seems like I could have used that for the last 40 years when I used to work on my car, okay? Lying down, lying underneath the car, needing 3 arms to do something on a British car, and the washer that you have to put on always keeps falling off the bolt.
ND Industries to the rescue. Stay Put washers, Bry.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to Fully Threaded Radio. We've got a big one for you this episode, and we'll be back to get it underway right after these words.
Online Fastener Talk Radio. Hey, at least it kills time on long road trips. Fully Threaded Radio.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries. Innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company have been servicing the fastener community since 1905. An employee-owned company for 33 years, we take great pride in the quality of products we sell, offering outstanding customer service from our very knowledgeable sales team members. Our standard product lines include graded weld screws, resistance weld fasteners, leg levelers, tube inserts, clevis pins, and various other fasteners. We have complete custom manufacturing capabilities in low carbon, medium carbon, and stainless steel materials, and our quality systems are registered to ISO standards. We also have an entire team of sourcing specialists able to locate those hard-to-find items with typically smaller minimums and shorter lead times than that of our competition. We offer same-day shipments from one of our warehouses, strategically located throughout the United States and Canada, enabling us to fulfill all your fastener needs in a very timely manner. To find out more about Buckeye Fasteners, please call us at 800-437-1689 or visit us on the web at buckeyefasteners.com. Buckeye Fasteners, product support from development to implementation.
BTM Manufacturing is a domestic ISO 9001 manufacturer of threaded fasteners and bent wire products. From anchor bolts to studs to U-bolts, BTM is committed to making your per print special with the highest quality standards while meeting your on-time delivery schedule. Since BTM began in 1961, this family-owned business has remained focused on providing exceptional service to their customers. Centrally located in Kansas City, Missouri, BTM recently expanded into a 100,000 square foot facility, which allows for the production and manufacture of many projects simultaneously, both large and small quantity. BTM's website at btm-mfg.com allows you to submit custom quotes quickly and easily, and once you do, a BTM team member will contact you as soon as possible to discuss your needs. Are you ready to get started? BTM is. Visit www.btm-mfg.com today.
I know my customers' yearly usage, but I don't have the warehouse space to store it.
Solution Man can. Submit a blanket order and I'll not only set up release dates, I'll offer you bulk pricing too. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
You're my fastener superhero.
Just doing my job, ma'am.
Hi, this is Lisa Kleinhandler from Fastener News Desk at FastenerNewsDesk.com, where we bring you all things fascinating. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio with Eric and Brian.
Brian and Eric, back with you, doing the job most fastener professionals won't do.
Okay.
Well, Brian, we're going to go into the montage of on-the-floor interviews that Lynn did for us this time. As usual, a great job, and we cobbled those together. Some pretty interesting insights, I'd say. Plus, we heard from Jun Zhu and Peggy from Brighton, and Bob Sachs and Robbie Gilchrist, winners of the 2018 Fastener Hall of Fame Awards, too, Brian.
Yeah, I didn't get there. Lynn ran away. I had to sort of stay with the booth. It's one of the traps.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing we have her with us because we have coverage that way, and I was in the same position, really. You know, overall, it was an exciting show. We got a lot of business done. As you'll hear, people were talking a lot about the tariffs, about Prop 65, and other issues. I think there were mixed reviews on the show taking place at the same time as Halloween. Did you get any kind of a Halloween vibe out of the show this year, Bri?
Well, I'm not into Halloween that much, but I noticed that the people at the Rotoclip booth certainly were okay.
Yeah, that's true. They always do such a great job with theme booths, and this year they were taking full advantage of the Halloween season. They did, as usual, a very nice job with that. And of course, one of the other booths everyone was looking at, two of them actually, was Lindstrom and Stelfast. The Stelfast monkey was presented as usual at the top of the show. Go to the Fully Threaded Twitter feed. You can see a photo of this year's beast. He was kind of, like silver gray with a cape?
Well, not a jacket, okay, not a cape.
Was it a jacket?
I think so, but
okay.
I could be wrong, okay.
Maybe that was a Halloween costume that the monkey had this year in keeping with everything. I don't know. But the thing that I thought was really cool was that both the Lindstrom and the Stelfast people had jerseys on that were custom made, and the Lindstrom team had green, but on the back it said Stelfast. In the Stelfast booth, they had blue jerseys on for Stelfast Blue with the Lindstrom name scrawled across the back. And I thought it did an excellent job of communicating to the industry that these two companies are working as one unit now. And I would imagine that next year those booths will be unified, although we haven't heard official word on a lot of that yet.
Right. That's going to be an interesting job for someone. A fair amount of space will be taken up in that exercise, I would say.
And as the details of the Lindstrom-Stelfast merger come out, we'll be presenting them here on this podcast. I think we're still all tapping our toes, waiting for details to emerge, but there's a lot to work out, as you said. Well, why don't we get with it, because there's a lot to cover right here with these vignettes from the floor of the International Fastener Expo from Las Vegas, Nevada, 2018, with the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey.
Right.
I'm here at the IFE, and I am talking with...
Chris Bell from GL Hewitt.
Okay, Chris, how's the show been so far?
It's been really good. We had a steady flow of traffic all day yesterday. Obviously, little dips around lunchtime, but with the area that the show covers, it was a nice steady traffic.
Okay. I'd like to ask you some industry questions, if possible. There.
I'll do my best.
Okay, I'd like a rating 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. All right, and I think I know how GL's going to answer this one, but how about the tariffs? How are they affecting you?
About a 9 right now. We're still trying to get through all the legalities of it, but yeah, it's definitely going to affect us.
How about Proposition 65?
Again, a 9. I did attend the seminar this week on Prop 65 and got some more knowledge that I'm going to share with our team to determine how we're going to approach it.
Okay. And how about employment, retention, or recruitment? How's that been?
It's been really good. Where we're located, sometimes we struggle because we are in the Midwest, but the quality of people that we are bringing on board is very good.
Okay. All right, I am here with
Bob Beebe, Carl Osborne, Metal Resource Solutions.
Okay. First, how's the show?
Show's going great. Yeah, it's been a busy show.
Were you here last year?
Yes.
Well, how would you rate it? This one's better, last year's better?
I will say it's been about equal to last year, but it's hard to tell sometimes where you try to figure out how busy is it, because I feel like the venue keeps getting larger and larger, so there could be more attendance here, but sometimes it's hard to determine overall, but right. It's been good.
You have downtimes.
Yeah.
So if it's all right, I'm going to ask you 3 questions that have been plaguing, I guess, the industry, and I'd like you to rate it 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. In your business, how are tariffs affecting you?
They're definitely affecting us as far as cost is concerned, but as a wire distributor, and we import wire, it hasn't affected us as much as we thought it would because everybody's in the same boat. So those costs are just being passed along to our customers, and our customers tell us they're able to pass them along. Our concern is what happens when they're pulled back and carrying probably $4 million worth of inventory and wire. We wonder what effect that's going to have when it's pulled back because we've got the tariff cost in the wire.
Okay. How about Proposition 65?
I'm going to temper my answer here. I think it's, reading through it seemed absurd to me. It really seems like an absurd. We've got actually one of our one of our employees had a chair that he bought did it come from IKEA or somewhere like that, and it actually had a sticker on the bottom warning you that when you thread the fastener into the wood chips could be harmful to your health. It just seems so ridiculous to me, to be honest with you, and it's just a little bit more extra paperwork for everybody to go through, extra processes, and then extra concern. When people start putting those kinds of, you wonder, who's going to use that as a means of litigation.
Right.
Where they're going to reach out and say, oh, well, such and such happened to me, and you didn't have a proper sticker put on this material to warn me that eating stainless steel might actually be harmful to my health. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a little overkill as far as.
I'm here with
Matthew Boyd, Parker Fasteners.
How's the show?
It's been a really good show so far. Thank you.
Were you here last year?
I was.
Okay. Which year would you rate better?
I would say this year because we just have a much better booth. So I don't know if it's the show or our booth that's making it a much better year.
All right, super. Now, I'd like to ask you 3 industry questions. I'd like you to rate it from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Tariffs, how are they with you?
Well, they've benefited us because we're a domestic manufacturer, but they have caused some repercussions of a higher price, and it's been harder to get material due to the fact that our domestic manufacturers of the raw material are busier.
And how about employment? Whether it's recruitment or retention, how's that going?
Well, it's definitely a tighter market, but we're approaching a plan that we're going head on with the millennial population. So we're really, through our motto, Fortunate Future, we're really looking to make a statement with bringing in good people, training them, and having them stay around for a long time. So we're taking it as an opportunity to really separate ourselves from the competition.
Hans Fuller from Fuller Metric or Fuller Fasteners in Canada.
And how's the show going?
It's good. It's, I would say, a lot slower than last year. The Halloween thing has been probably a problem.
We won't talk about the Halloween thing.
No.
My dog has given the babysitter, the dog sitter problems.
Yeah.
So let's talk by our Canadian friends here. How about the new NAFTA? How's that going to affect you?
There probably was, from my side, there was very little NAFTA exposure because we're mostly imported, so most of our stuff would pay duties anyway. But it was a big problem because all the contracts and everything stopped in Ontario, where there's more automotive and all that. They were still busy, but it just stopped. Nobody knows what was going to happen, so that's good again. We have some clarity, and apparently you get to sell us, milk now, so that's good.
That is. How about the tariffs? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 high, how are they affecting you?
We will see. Not so much right now, but there's a couple things people don't even realize is because of your steel tariff right now. My plastic bags that I'm buying from my packaging vendor have a 10% countervailing duty on it. So I'm paying 10% because Canada imposed about $40 billion of countervailing duties on all kinds of American products that have come to Canada right now. One of them being plastic bags, 10%. So you don't see that side of it, but that puts that puts more stress on ours. And we had them prepaid sitting there, so now we're going an extra 10% on top of everything else. And steel, one of my colleagues has a little manufacturing place. Buying U.S. steel to Canada is almost impossible now. He brings it in, he pays a duty, countervailing duty again, and now we can't ship it back to the U.S. because it just doesn't make sense.
Mike Topoleski Jr., Perigee Manufacturing Company.
All right, so how's the show going?
I think it's been pretty good so far, a little lighter than last year, but I think the location of our booth plays a role in that.
All right, I'm going to ask you the 4 tough questions I've been asking everybody. Would you rate from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how these are affecting your business? All right? Tariffs.
Tariffs have affected us a 6 out of 10. We've seen, like a lot of companies, increases in pricing and some delivery issues, but it definitely has affected our business.
How about Proposition 65?
To this point, we haven't had a lot of inquiries into Prop 65, but certainly based on our knowledge, we're going to expect more across the board in our industry.
And how about employment, recruiting, and retention?
That's a big issue for a lot of companies, ours as well. We're fortunate in the Detroit area to have a good, fairly good supply base, skilled trades, but it's a number 1 or number 2 problem certainly in our industry, and we've dealt with that as well.
And my throw in 2019, what do you think is going to be the big thing?
That's a good question. Been a lot of change in the industry. I think to see the resolution perhaps of tariffs will be a welcome sight, at least some stability from that point.
Thank you, Mike. I'm here with
John Butler with the Olander Company.
And John, I understand you are Wi-Fi's Man of the Year.
What a great honor that was. I want to thank all of the ladies of Wi-Fi for nominating me.
So tell us about the women in your business.
Annie Olander is the CEO. Michelle Richards is Director of Operations. Bob Nisharma, Director of Marketing. And, of course, we have many other women that help hold everything together at the Olander Company, Olander Fasteners, and the Olander Corporation.
That's very good. Congratulations to that. And now I'd like to ask you some industry questions there. And I'd like a rating between 1 and 10, and 10 being the highest. Tariffs, how are they affecting the Olander Group?
We do not import directly, so what we're seeing are price increases from the importers, but we're not really seeing anything about tariffs. We've had customers that tell us that they were not going to take any tariff-related price increases, so we just don't call them that.
How about P65?
P65. Now there's 10 out of 10 right there. You wanted me to rate that. So we did listen to Carmen Vertullo and his great presentation that he did, and we are getting further involved. We have an attorney out of San Francisco that we work with, along with Ascent Compliance, to make sure that we don't overdo our Prop 65 stickering and labeling. We believe that where we'll end up doing is putting everything on the packing slip.
All right, and last thing, hiring, whether it's recruitment or retention. Has it been difficult?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say it's 5. I think all of us in the industry have difficulty trying to find qualified personnel or motivated personnel. Within our industry, we have some great people, but most of those people stay with those companies because we have a lot of distributors and importers and manufacturers that are just very appreciative of their employees. So it's hard to get them away from there.
Thank you, John.
Willie Washer. I'm Bob Erlakis.
I'm Jamie Braybeck from Willie Washer.
How's the show going?
It's going well.
Yeah?
Seeing the contacts and the people we want to see.
Okay. Yeah, we're seeing some of the major accounts that are out there stopping by, and it's always good to do that in person.
How about Proposition 65?
There is a lot more clarity to be worked out on that. I think there's a lot of confusion in the industry, and I think we should have some kind of coalition to really work it out.
I'm here with
Luisa Rodriguez, Marcela Almeida,
and they're from BBI, and we're here at the awards, and I'm assuming you came for Peggy and John.
Yes.
And why did you come?
Peggy St. John is a very, very professional person. I'm proud to work with Brighton Best, work together with them. They are very kind person. I like very much them.
And for me, they deserve these awards, and they is recognizing his work and his personality, his professionality, and I am very proud to work for him and for her.
Good, wonderful lady. All right, I'm here with some award winners here, Peggy and John from Brighton Best. So, how's it feel?
It's great. It's a huge honor. It really is a huge honor.
It was a great speech there, John. So, and young, I'll take young anytime, like you said. Yeah. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
And we are very lucky, too. Honestly, it's, Brighton's been around since 1925, and we only stepped in 2008. So, for 80 years, the company was just being built, and there's so much history and people behind us that made it possible for us to be here today. So definitely wanted to acknowledge, the history and the visions of that and our appreciation for it as well.
And I liked your comment about leaders have to be comfortable with themselves, and that's absolutely true.
That's probably the only common trait I see, because there's so many different styles of leadership. There's extroverted, introverted. But a leader needs to. I don't want to get too philosophical, but, I think knowing yourself makes you more solid so that when there are pressures that apply all around you, you don't crack, And it's only by knowing yourself and having a solid core that happens. Otherwise, if you're just building a shell, if you read a book about Jack Welch and you think you're Jack Welch, then sorry, you're not Jack Welch. Yeah. You're trying to be him. That's a shell. It's going to crack. So I think it's really important to know yourself.
You came from the finance industry. Now you're in this. All right. What had more pressure, finance or fasteners?
It was a little bit, it's different. It's hard to compare because of the different natures of the job. But definitely this job in fasteners has been a lot more challenging because of what we had to manage and what we were responsible for. And that's what we truly believe, that it's a responsibility. Our jobs is a responsibility not only to our employees but to the industry.
Yeah, I absolutely echo that. In many ways, it's easier working for someone else because you can go home without the pressures of the business.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Now it's different. So,
thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations.
Don Nowak from Falcon Fastening.
And we are here at the awards ceremony at the IFE. And who are you here for?
Both Bob Sachs and Robbie Gilchrist, they have long-term friends of mine in the industry. Bob actually was a neighbor of mine when I lived in the Chicago area. For many years, his girls went to high school with my kids. And then I've known Robbie for 35 years, and they're both pillars of the industry, gentlemen that have really advanced the industry in many different ways.
And it's not too bad of a time. We're here drinking some wine, and it's good.
Life is good. Life is good. At my age, life is good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm here with Bob Sachs' wife, Fran. Fran, how do you feel about this award?
I think it's wonderful that he got it, and it's so well-deserved, and that he's been in the industry for so long that it's a wonderful thing for him to have this award.
Well, you've both been in the industry so long, haven't you?
We have. We have. He started working for XL about 2 months before we were married, and it's been 46 years.
46.
So,
did you ever think, is he going to give this up, or did you just know it was going to be there?
We just was glad that he was working and that he loved it and that it was important to him, and it just turned out to be the best thing.
Okay. Fran, what's your favorite fastener?
Sheet metal.
All right. Thank you.
That's the one that I know.
Yeah. That works. I'm here with the award winners, Bob Sachs and Robbie Gilchrist. All right, so who's been in the industry longer?
I started in July of 72.
I started June the 2nd of 1972.
Oh, Robbie, yeah.
A couple months.
So who started or who was president of the company first?
You were president of XL when?
I became president in 2003.
Okay, when I founded Capital Fasteners, it was 1985.
1985, okay.
I became vice president in 1979. I started in 72, became vice president in 79.
Okay. Now, did you two know of each other back then?
Yes.
We met each other probably about 81 or 2 or something like that. Yeah.
Some of the conventions that we used to have.
Yeah. Did you like each other back then?
Very much so.
Yeah, very much so. We used to play golf together most of the time.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'm just checking this out.
I remember one time I did very well in one of the golf tournaments where I was said, importers aren't supposed to win these things. It's supposed to be for the distributor. I remember that.
Yes, sir.
I was carrying the trophy around. You're not supposed to have that.
That's right. That's right. The distributor's supposed to win all the time.
That's right.
Not the suppliers.
Right, now it comes to golf, right?
That's right.
Okay.
There's always little things that you remember like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
But yeah, we've been
Back a
good
long
friends
way.
for a long time.
That's super.
I really respect Robbie and everything he's done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bro.
He is a real gentleman.
Thank you.
It'll make him any better than Robbie Gilchrist.
And likewise to Bob. I mean, it's a good opportunity to be exposed to him for a long time.
Yeah.
I think we both learned a lot from each other.
We have.
I'm over here at the XL Group, and I want to talk to them about Bob winning the award yesterday, and I want to know what changes are in the office. Do you have to salute when he comes in?
Absolutely not.
We had to salute before you.
Right.
Oh, okay.
No,
I'm kidding.
Bob is the exact same wonderful, humble, generous man that he was before. Which is why he is where he is.
Just no more days off or something for him? Maybe you see him less?
Maybe some days off for me, I hope.
Yeah,
No, he won't change.
No,
He'll still be driven. That's the type of guy Bob is.
Absolutely.
You know, as I said yesterday, he's not one to look for accolades. He's proud to be in the Hall of Fame, but as I said, his reward is seeing his employees happy and successful and XL doing well. So.
The only thing that would really change would be that we have another little reason to be a little bit more proud of working for XL. So
Nicely said, Kelly. I'm here with...
Gary Gardner, Advanced Poly Packaging.
All right, how's the show going?
It's been going pretty good. I think in previous shows we're getting as many or more leads, than we have in the past 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
All right, that's super. Now I'm going to kind of put you guys on the spot. I'm going to ask you the questions that I've been asking our fastener industry here, and I'd like you to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high. All right, how about tariffs?
The tariffs, honestly, have helped our business. So when you say 1 to 10, 10 being good or bad?
10 being bad.
Okay, I would say like a 1 then.
Yeah, a 1, okay.
So we manufacture everything here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's actually helped our business and not in a negative way. So positive, I'd say.
Rich Cavoto from Metric and Multi.
All right, how's the show?
Very good. A little slow right now on the second day, but...
Very cool. All right, I would like a rating from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. All right, how are tariffs?
2.
2? Oh, that's good.
No, we don't want tariffs.
Yeah. How about...
They're bad.
They're bad. Well, how are they affecting your business, though?
Yeah, they're hitting us on the stuff, obviously, we bring in from China. But we're trying to steer some of the stuff away from China now, and hopefully the tariffs won't increase that much, which I think they're going to do beginning of next year.
2019, what do you think is going to be the big thing?
Well, probably still the tariffs. I'm not sure the Prop 65 will be hopefully under the bridge by then. It'll hopefully fizzle out. You know, the economy, I think the car industry is supposed to be a little soft, but overall, you know, it's been a great year in 2018, and if we can keep pace of up 5 or 8 points for next year, that would be a huge bonus.
I'm here with
Baron Yarborough with Spring Bolt and Nut Manufacturing.
All right, how's the show going?
Going great. Great turnout yesterday, and hoping for a great one today.
Okay, 3 questions about the industry, from number 1 to 10, 10 being high. Tariffs.
Tariffs, not 5. Indifferent. Okay. Plead the 5th.
Okay. How about Proposition 65 in your business?
1.
1. And how about employment? Either retaining people or recruiting?
1 through 10 on that? 10.
10. What do you think the big thing's going to be for the industry in 2019?
Spring Bolt.
Well, okay, and that's true.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stelfast. Since 1976, Stelfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stelfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stelfast today through our website at www.stelfast.com and put us to work for you. Stelfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Harry, now that you use InSequel software, how do you like it?
InSequel has delivered. They truly are written for fastener distributors. It's affordable and their support staff is great.
We found InSequel's support staff has depth. They know our industry, and they certainly know their software. I see they've helped you pronounce InSequel.
Yes, but what does InSequel mean? Is it written in SQL? Is the data stored in SQL? Are they located in SQL?
InSequel uses the industry standard Microsoft SQL database, which is why it's so powerful and easy to use.
Oh, the database is stored in SQL. I don't even know where that is. I hear it's a nice place.
Harry, InSequel uses a SQL database because it's current technology and your data is completely accessible. No more expensive custom reports.
Is that why InSequel is so easy to use? Where is SQL on the map?
One of their many support members will help you answer that. Go to their website, www.inxsql.com, or call toll-free 877-446-9775.
Parker Fasteners is your premier cold heading manufacturer, forging the future with precision and quality as our top priority. When you think of domestically produced sockets and tamper-proof screws from alloy and stainless, including A286, think Parker Fasteners. Our lockout line of security fasteners feature high-torque, oval center pin design and unique lobes that provide one-of-a-kind security for your customers. Our in-house 3D printing capability makes the prototyping process fast and affordable, and we're ready to produce your large or small run orders with highly competitive pricing and unbeatable lead times. So, forge the future with Parker Fasteners. Visit Parker Fasteners online today at parkerfasteners.com.
This is Aaron Shushan from Specialty Sales, and you are listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you. Hey, Bri, we're going into the news segment at this point in the podcast, and there was one breaking story that came out that Mike didn't pick up in his headlines, and that has to do with the Fastener Industry Coalition.
Tell me the news.
Well, a couple of our friends are leading up that organization this year. Marty Nolan with RL English is the chairman, and we pointed out earlier in the show that Rosa Hearn seems to turn up everywhere in this industry. Well, she has a leadership position in the Fastener Industry Coalition for 2018-2019, or maybe they're inaugurated at the beginning of next year. I'm not sure how that works, but in any case, she'll be working along with Marty, and congratulations to those two.
Good. Okay. I look forward to them getting a little bit of order into this industry.
It will be interesting to see whether the FIC jumps on board with some of the issues that are on everybody's mind. As we heard during the last segment with Lynn, people are thinking a lot about certain things, and who knows, might be a golden opportunity for this organization to really coalesce around something. Or is that asking too much?
Remaining silent, okay?
The Fastener News Report is brought to us by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. And Mike is solo this time around with the Fastener Distributor Index numbers. I think a lot of you will be happy to hear the report this month. But I wanted to point out that if you're on the FTI mailing list and you did not receive the report that we send out each month, if you participate in the survey, check your junk file, because we had a rash of the FTI monthly reports go into spam this month for some reason. Brian, not sure how that might have happened. I don't quite understand how all that works, but did have a lot of reports from people not receiving it. But in actuality, it was in their junk folder. So take a look there, folks. And I don't know what to say on that. We'll have to look for next month and see if we can ameliorate that issue.
Yeah, some of it doesn't actually have anything to do with us at all. I mean, new version of mail on the Mac comes out, and then suddenly stuff from, some of your stuff to me from Fasteners Clearinghouse disappears. It's just the time we live in, which is very unfortunate. There's so much spam and junk flying around. And, I read this report about the fact that there's going to be billions per month next year, okay? They expect, for whatever particular reason, the junk mail to go up by another, not quite a factor of 10, but another factor of 5 over the next year.
Unbelievable.
So we rely on these junk filters to just keep our sanity, actually. But every now and again, they sort of go wrong, and so stuff that you really are expecting turns up there.
By the way, Brad, there's only like 4 people in the whole fastener industry who use a Mac.
That's the problem.
Oh, good comeback. Well, speaking of junk, you're not going to hear any of that in Mike McNulty's report this month.
Okay.
And he's got a particularly engaging back page report, I must add, as well this month.
Oh, okay, cool. Can't wait.
Well, if that's true, why don't you roll it out, Bri?
Yeah, so for news about screws that you can use, here's Mike McNulty.
Thanks, Brian and Eric. This is Mike McNulty from Fastener Technology International magazine, bringing you the Fastener News Report, which is sponsored today by Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners. Since the last episode, I have traveled to and from fabulous Las Vegas to attend the latest edition of the International Fastener Expo, and the Cleveland Browns fired some coaches while winning their 3rd game of the season. So I am really focused on fasteners and ready to deliver today's Fastener News Report. In this episode, we will reveal the latest results of the Fastener Distributor Index, also known as the FTI. Also in today's broadcast, we have our top story on Chicago Rivet and Machine and newsmaker headlines from Ningbo Jingding Fastening, Lawson Products, J.W. Winco, Bassard, Brighton Best, Granger, ClickBond, and more. On the back page report, we're going to talk about political elections and advertisements. We'll get to all of that and the latest FTI results right after this.
Whether you need a small or large number of fasteners, there is no reason why you should have to sacrifice quality or service for that matter. Volt Industrial Plastics takes great care with each and every order to ensure you receive a quality fastener in a timely and affordable manner. Our state-of-the-art production equipment allows us to produce any quantity you request quickly and efficiently. And with same-day shipping on nearly 1 million in-stock fasteners, we carry an inventory so you don't have to. Visit us online at voltplastics.com to find out more about our quality American-made products. Volt Industrial Plastics, manufacturer of the finest plastic fasteners in the world.
Parker Fasteners is your premier cold heading manufacturer, forging the future with precision and quality as our top priority. When you think of domestically produced sockets and tamper-proof screws from alloy and stainless, including A286, think Parker Fasteners. Our lockout line of security fasteners feature high torque, oval center pin design, and unique lobes that provide one-of-a-kind security for your customers. Our in-house 3D printing capability makes the prototyping process fast and affordable, and we're ready to produce your large or small run orders with highly competitive pricing and unbeatable lead times. So, forge the future with Parker Fasteners. Visit Parker Fasteners online today at parkerfasteners.com.
You're listening to Mike McNulty's Fastener News Report on Fully Threaded Radio.
The seasonally adjusted FDI grabbed some momentum in October, rising to 62.2 after its 55.8 reading in September. This result points to a renewed optimism despite continuing uncertainty related to tariffs at home and abroad. Fastener Distributor Index data is collected and analyzed by the FCH Sourcing Network, the National Fastener Distributors Association, and Baird. The FDI seeks to identify demand, pricing, and outlook trends within the American fastener distribution industry. In the October survey, 69% of respondents indicated that sales were better relative to the seasonally adjusted expectations of 22% in September. This produced a seasonally adjusted index of 73.4 before September's mild reading of 46.5, and it's likely that respondents benefited from the additional 4 selling days in October versus September. The forward-looking indicator, also known as the FLI, also gained with a reading of 57.0 versus 54.7 last month. And the 6-month outlook also had a positive shift, as nearly half of the respondents expected better business by the time spring hits its stride in 2019. Employment and pricing also rose while inventories dipped a bit. The comments from the respondents were mostly positive, and a few were cautious on tariffs. Quote, the next rolling 12 forecast from our top 15 customers is up 13.5%, and 8 of the 12 months are locked and loaded for 14.5% increases year on year. Next comment was October was the second highest month ever and our most profitable ever. Next on the tariff side, we said looking forward, we have 10% tariffs coming in November and 25% in January. Thankfully, we are well stocked to weather the storm, but I can't imagine that this will be anywhere near healthy for the economy. 30% of our supply is from imports. Our manufacturing customers' projections have been extremely cautious and nervous. Exactly the last thing any of us in the fastener industry wants to hear. So in summary, the FDI is back over the 60-point mark, getting a reading of 62.2 versus a mildly successful 55.8 in September. This is a good result, which is tempered by tariffs, but not too much, and a positive look as we go into the last 2 months of the year. Visit FDIsurvey.com to participate in the process and get a detailed PDF copy of Baird's monthly analysis on the FDI. Now for today's top story. The Blair County Chamber of Commerce in Pennsylvania has inducted Chicago Rivet and Machine Company's Tyrone, Pennsylvania facility into their Business Hall of Fame's class of 2018. Criteria for consideration include successfully operating within that region for 25 continuous years, a business's involvement within the community, and a review of the company's employment growth and expansion performance. Chicago Rivet and Machine replied, quote, "We are honored that our Tyrone team members have been recognized by the Blair County business community for their many years of outstanding and dedicated efforts on behalf of our organization. Every Tyrone team member, past and present, is responsible for Chicago Rivet and Machine's receipt of this Hall of Fame honor." End quote. Chicago Rivet and Machine is headquartered in Naperville, Illinois, and it is an IATF 16949 certified company. Next up, today's Fastener Newsmaker headlines. In acquisition, investment, and expansion news, Ningbo Jingding Fastening Piece has added 2 new USA-made annealing furnaces, bringing its total to 14. Lawson's Products has opened a new bolt supply house branch in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. J.W. Winco has opened a new stocking warehouse in Nuevo Leon, Mexico. Bassard is acquiring 49% of 3D Prototype GmbH in Germany. Lisi Automotive in France has acquired 100% of the assets of High-Vol Products LLC, and Grauer Metal of Italy has opened a new raw material warehouse. In personnel news, Brighton Best International announced Michael McChesney as the new territory sales manager for the southeast region of the USA, and James Sayers was announced as the company's new regional manager for Western Canada. Grainger has appointed Kathleen Carroll as Senior Vice President and Chief Human Resources Officer, and ClickBond reports that Elvis Perez has joined the company as Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and Rodrigo Pinheiro is the new Director of Product Engineering. You can get details on all of these stories and more in Fastener Technology International magazine and the Fastener News Report newsletter, both available online at fastenertech.com. Finally, let's turn to the back page to talk about political elections and advertisements. So now that we have completed the, quote, most important election of our lifetime, unquote, I would like to reflect a bit on political elections and advertisements. First of all, as a fan of the organizing principle of subsidiarity, which states that political and social matters ought to be handled by the smallest, lowest, or least centralized competent authority, I reject the claims that each and every modern election is the most important ever. In fact, I would say that the vast majority of our daily lives, existence, and happiness should not and are not impacted by any election results, especially when the USA functions as the federal republic that it was designed to be, with 3 balancing branches of government operating in accordance with the guidelines written into the U.S. Constitution. Secondly, as a fan of honest, informative, persuasive, and clever advertising, I am surely disappointed and bored with nearly all of the political ads that I saw this cycle, with one exception. A video advertisement called Mike Braun, The Difference. You can check it out on YouTube by searching on those words, and it wins my vote for the best political ad that I have seen in 2018. Mike Braun ended up winning the U.S. Senate seat in Indiana, and he has a nice background story as well. Braun is the founder of Meyer Distributing, a specialty products marketing and distribution company that has hundreds of brands and lines, including a few fastener-related products. You can check out the company at MeyerDistributing.com, and it looks to me like there are still some political diamonds in the rough to go along with lots of good distribution-based businesses. This has been Mike McNulty of Fastener Technology International bringing you the Fastener News Report. Please send your news, pictures, comments, corrections, or complaints to me at McNulty@FastenerTech.com.
Fastener industry entrepreneur and barista Jake Davis, along with Rosa the Riveter Hearn, join us next for a review of this year's Vegas Fastener Show. Stick around, it's fully threaded. BTM Manufacturing is a domestic ISO 9001 manufacturer of threaded fasteners and bent wire products. From anchor bolts to studs to U-bolts, BTM is committed to making your per print special with the highest quality standards while meeting your on-time delivery schedule. Since BTM began in 1961, this family-owned business has remained focused on providing exceptional service to their customers. Centrally located in Kansas City, Missouri, BTM recently expanded into a 100,000 square foot facility, which allows for the production and manufacture of many projects simultaneously, both large and small quantity. BTM's website at btm-mfg.com allows you to submit custom quotes quickly and easily, and once you do, a BTM team member will contact you as soon as possible to discuss your needs. Are you ready to get started? BTM is. Visit www.btm-mfg.com today.
Since 1905, Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company have been supplying the world with high-quality fasteners. Our standard product lines include weld fasteners, braided weld screws, leg levelers, self-clinching hardware, clevis pins, rivet nuts, and various other fastener lines, allowing us to support virtually all types of industries. We have complete custom manufacturing capabilities in low carbon, medium carbon, and stainless steel materials, and our quality systems are registered to ISO standards. Our on-staff engineering department can assist you with product development and provide total technical support. Our knowledgeable sales team members offer superior customer service and are here to answer any questions you may have regarding our products. Having a hard time finding a part? Let our sourcing specialists do the work for you to locate those items. We offer competitive pricing with typically smaller minimums and shorter lead times. To find out more about Buckeye Fasteners, please call us at 800-437-1689 or on the web at buckeyefasteners.com. Buckeye Fasteners, more than just weld.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo coming to you from the Fastener Training Institute with the Fastener Training Minute at the AIM Test Lab in beautiful downtown El Cajon, California. Today, we're going to talk about some of the most important fastener technical resources that every fastener professional should have. Some have been around a while, some are brand new. When we come back, I'll tell you what they are and how to get them.
Thanks, Carmen. This is Joe Morris with the Fastener Training Institute. Before I jump into our training schedule for December, I would like to thank you to everyone who applied for the Fully Threaded Radio and Fastener Training Institute Scholarship. It's great to see that so many of you place training at the highest of priorities for career development. We understand training can be expensive, but please do not let cost hold you back. There are other grants and scholarships available all year long to help you attend classes with the Fastener Training Institute. If you'd like any more information, please send me an email at jom@fastenertraining.com. Now, let's talk about what's new in December for training. We have one more Fastener Training Week for 2018. If you're available, join us from December 3rd through the 7th in Cleveland, Ohio at the IFI headquarters and spend the week learning all about fasteners and how to become a certified fastener specialist. Then on December 18th in Costa Mesa, California, we will host Fastener Basics. This class is a must for your new employees. We'll spend time discussing basic terminology, hex head products, thread callouts, nuts, sockets, washers, and much, much more. Join us for a full day of need-to-know fastener basics. And if you can't fit a live class into your schedule, join us for a webinar. On November 16th, Carmen Vertullo will present the webinar, Nuts, Nuts, and More Nuts. This webinar is sponsored by Star Stainless. You might think there's a lot to know about nuts. Guess what? You are right. What you don't know could hurt you and cost you some profits. This interactive webinar is suitable for all levels of fastener professionals. Lastly, I would like to remind you that sponsoring a webinar or a live class helps fund FTI's growth while providing a great platform for your company to promote the products that you sell. There's a lot in store at the Fastener Training Institute in 2019. Thank you to everyone for your support this year, and please visit our website at www.fastenertraining.org for a complete list of new classes for next year. Now back to Carmen for our Fastener Training Minute.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute. There are 4 brand new fastener technical resources that you should be aware of. Some of them aren't exactly brand new, but they're new and improved. I'm going to go through them relatively quickly, and you'll be able to contact me later if you'd like some more details on any of them. The first one, of course, is the infamous Industrial Fasteners Institute Inch Fastener Standards book. This has been around for a long time, lots of different versions. The latest version was the 9th edition. Now we have the 10th edition. It's actually called the 2018 edition, and it has all the standards in it that the previous version had. It's a very thick book. However, as we know, anytime a book is printed that has standards in it, those standards can change and those books can become obsolete. So what the IFI has done is they have compiled all of the standards that are in that book into an online subscription service. Now, the cool thing about that online subscription service is when you open those standards, you get the actual Consensus Standards Organization version of it. So if it's an ASTM standard, you're going to get the real ASTM standard, not the IFI version of it, which is very well done, by the way. I love the way they do the copy in the IFI Inch Standards book. It's nice, large print, easy to read for my old eyes. But it's nice to have the original that is complete. So I really encourage you to look at the IFI Online Standards edition. So those are two resources that are brand new. The 2018 edition of the Inch Standards Handbook and also the IFI Online version of that book. Another resource that is brand new, and we've been waiting for a long time for this, is the ISO Fastener Standards version of the same thing. Now, the technical director, engineering director at the IFI, Salim Brahimi, has been working on this for a long time. He was trying to bring the compilation of ISO Fastener Standards to us through the IFI. Couldn't quite get ISO to cooperate on that, but he did manage to get us access to it through the Standards Council of Canada. So that is another resource that is online. You buy a subscription to it, so you're always current. It has hundreds of the most important metric fastener standards that you would need, the ISO standards. So that's one that everyone should have. And finally, the fourth one is, of course, the Industrial Fasteners Institute's Fastener Technology Connection. And that is a really wonderful online service that allows you to get all kinds of technical information about fasteners, including things like torque tension and shear values and material crossovers and lots of technical bulletins. So those four things every fastener professional should have. Let me run them by you quickly once again. The brand new 2018 version of the Industrial Fasteners Institute Inch Standards Handbook, the online version of that handbook, which is a subscription service, the online version of the ISO fastener standards from the Standards Council of Canada, and of course the IFI Technology Connection. If you want any information about how to use those things or get your hands on them, you can email me at carmenv@aimtestlab.com, or you know how to get a hold of me by phone. I'm very happy to guide you through it, go online, and train you on how to use these resources. Look forward to hearing from you. This has been Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute.
Hi, this is Jackie with Stelfast in Chicago. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, your online fastener amigos, back with you. Well, Brian, as we have said earlier in the podcast, we're back from Vegas. This year's Fastener Show was a big success. I think you did a great job talking to everybody, Brian, at the booth.
Thank you. Yes. Actually, I like the show because I get to meet all the people who, we deal with, but I only know them as like names and things. And when they turn up, that's when I really like it.
Yes, the beauty of the Vegas show. And as usual, we're doing our annual Fastener Show review. Here to do that, I think this is getting to be kind of a habit, Brian. We've got two well-known industry stalwarts joining us for the review. And the first one is the man who made Thursday morning possible for many show attendees from BTM Manufacturing. He's Jake Davis. Hey, man, thanks for the being at the show.
Hey, guys. Great to be on, and my pleasure. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. I needed it, actually. Thanks for bringing me my cup of coffee. That was very, very welcome. Thank you.
Good touch.
That's what a good sponsor does, guys.
Also here with us to talk about Vegas, it's everybody's favorite riveter. That's Rosa Hearn from Brighton Best International. Thanks for hopping on with us, Rosa.
Well, hello, everyone. Hi, Brian. Hi, Eric. Hi,
Hi.
Jake. I mean, I almost feel like me and Jake should be a duet because we've done this before with episode 127. So
That's right. You guys did the review for the Fastener Fair in Cleveland, did you not?
yes.
Backed by popular demand, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but
So while we're thanking Jake for coffee, I want to thank you for turning up, running around the show and delivering off the invitations to the BBI reception too. Thank you.
oh, you're welcome. I wanted to make sure our partners, as well as our customers, were invited to our cocktail party.
Yeah, and it was good. Thank you.
Now, where does FTR fit in that group of people?
Friends.
Well, I was hoping that you would make a mention.
Just checking.
Okay.
The International Fastener Expo took place October 30th through November 1st out there at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. We were all out there in our various booths doing what we do, and so we thought we'd round it all up and chat a little bit about it. Guys, we talked, Brian and I did, at the beginning of the podcast about our general impressions of the show. What'd you think, Rosa, as you were heading out there? What was going on in your mind, and what were you hoping to do? Did you achieve it?
Yes. The Fastener Show itself is actually fantastic because you get to see everybody. It's really the people that make the Fastener Show happen. Any show, really. You know, the suppliers, the people in the associations, the customers, to be able to put everybody pretty much in one room and, you know, just say hello and give each other hugs and see what's going on with everybody is just amazing. So I don't think the Fastener Show itself you know, would have been a place. It literally could have been anywhere as long as all these people were in one roof.
That's true, actually. I'm not sure if we run around hugging everyone, though.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
You know, I think nowadays I have to ask permission now. So next time I see you, I'm going to ask you for permission.
Right, you have to be really careful now. But yeah, it's true. It's true. It's yeah, it could be, as long as you had heating, it could be down in Antarctica and it would still work just the same, okay?
But not Columbus, Ohio.
Apparently not, though. You know.
Jake, how about you? When you headed off to Vegas, what was on your mind? Did you get it done?
Yeah, I think so. As kind of Rosa mentioned, it's, you know, one-stop shop for us as a supplier, and it's a great opportunity to see a lot of customers and friends of the industry. And, you know, I get excited, you know, the week before, and I kind of have to draw back a little bit and think about this is, you know, for work and not, you know, fun. And it works out that way. But there was a pretty long gap from seeing everybody kind of in the spring with Fastener Fair and NFDA and MWFA tabletop, so a little bit of a gap, and then it's just kind of the fall World Series for us, so to speak. But had a bigger booth this year for the first time, a little bit, you know, coffee related as you mentioned, and just very excited about the opportunity, and pretty busy with breakfast and dinners with customers, and that was a little bit new. So all in all, good show.
Well, to set the stage for this a little bit more, a lot of people were wondering what was going to happen because of so many different changes. The biggie being that the venue is Mandalay Bay, or it was this year, and it will be for the next few years. That after a few years of moving around, last year being particularly unsettling, shall we say, for a few people. But anytime you move venues, it's just the sense of the unknown is out there. So we had that. We also had the timing, which was a little different. The schedule of the show. This time, for a few people, the fact that it coincided with Halloween was something to think about. I don't know if that really added or took away from the show, to tell you the truth. The numbers that Emerald Expositions, the show operators, are throwing out there is about 5,300 attended the show, and that's including the exhibitors and then the registered folks walking the floor. So that was about on par with last year. The square footage of the show remained about the same as last year as well. So from that standpoint, it was sort of a continuation of IFE as we've come to know it, except in a new venue. What did you think? What was the energy like from your standpoint at this year's show, Rosa?
I was actually a little surprised it was well attended than I thought. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, it's Halloween. You know, most women, or for that matter, most parents, grandparents weren't going to come because of Halloween. I know there was an issue with the Mandalay Bay suing the victims of last year's shooting that some people pulled out. Plus, it was also in connection with STAFTA back to back. So to decide either which one to attend or which one to exhibit was actually kind of difficult for people. So I was really, really pleasantly surprised at the outcome that we did get. I think for sure next year will be a little bit more busier, but I really thought, considering everything that was happening, it was actually a well-attended show.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I kind of a little bit of reservations. I know the whole STAFTA thing made some people upset, remembering conversations last year. But I know that wasn't their doing. That was, I believe, it was the city of Denver that kind of pulled the rug out from them. So you kind of had to choose which one. I know some people that went to both. For us, we went to the SEMA show. At least one of my outside reps has gone to the SEMA show the past 3 or 4 years. So I was excited about the opportunity. I came in, a day earlier and went over to SEMA from about 9 till noon on Tuesday. And my goodness, that is a show on steroids, for lack of a better term. Just ginormous, inside, outside, just pretty awesome.
I heard there was like 1,600 exhibitors there, and probably over like 10,000 people attended. So it's a crazy aftermarket show, but it seems like it's a great show.
Yeah, there was a little bit of crossover with the SEMA attendees walking down the aisles at IFE this year. And they added definitely a new dimension. A few folks stopped by to look at FCH, and they were, I guess, taking their first look ever. So that was pretty cool from our standpoint. Hopefully they'll use the network occasionally. I was talking to Morgan Wilson of Emerald, and he, although was, of course, I guess he wasn't super thrilled that the square footage was the same. One detail that he did throw out was that their international sales group noticed a little bit of possible pullback or hesitancy in connection with the whole tariff issue. So had it been a normal year, I think they would have gotten some growth that they didn't see because of the tariffs. So you never know where the effects of that are likely to show up.
I think that relating to the area there, I guess there's a segregation between the Asian suppliers and North American ones, and it was clear that people were not making their way as far as to get to a lot of the Asian booths. They were pretty empty, okay? Not a lot of people walking the floors around there. So I spoke to Ruth Dowling, who was down there, and she said there was very light traffic.
I know people were concerned having end users walking the show. I saw the Tesla group people walking around, and some suppliers were complaining how it used to be just a distributor only show. And I guess most people would take their end users there too, but I think for the most part it was never publicized, and I think more and more end users are coming to these shows.
Yeah, if you're a Tesla, why wouldn't you? You've got to buy nuts and bolts and screws and things just like anyone else.
It'll be interesting to see coming up at Fastener Fair in Detroit how many automotive engineers there are walking around, simply because of the location. Plus, Mack Brooks is, they're openly embracing that whole audience. So maybe the tide is shifting. I know there are a lot of guys who they are not happy about it one bit, but I think Emerald is really facing the same reality, and that is they got to put people in the aisles. So it's something that the fastener industry is just having to deal with, is what it is, right?
Yeah, I think it comes down to sales, and the aspect of having booths or having attendees. Conversations I've had with customers, it was kind of prior to Fastener Fair, and I just kind of wanted to get an opinion, if they had, if BTM's customer was there, and then their end user was there, and they saw me speaking to their end user. I just asked, I said, who would you be upset with? And she said, well, I'd be upset with you, and not knowing. And I think you kind of have to think about that aspect of it as, Mack Brooks or Emerald, and you put us in a somewhat of a, I don't know where they're buying from, unless they're going to come up front and tell us, then that's great, and you can have that discussion. But I think it's something that is probably dynamic to our industry, and you probably see more of it. But there's a fine line between keeping it on the up and up, I guess.
But it isn't surely. I mean, if you looked at it one way, surely there's no better way of finding out what people think of your product than talking to someone who's actually using it. Okay, not just selling it.
Sure, absolutely.
I agree, especially if you have a brand that you're pushing out. And so, it's a great way to actually, spec in your product, talk about your brand, and let people know, like, hey, you can buy this from your distributor now.
Right. I agree with that. That's why it's always seemed, I guess there's the hidden problem is, as always used to be, even when we started off in this business 10, 12 years ago, that the fear that distributor is going to actually be seen selling, or a master distributor is going to be seen selling to an end user. God forbid, okay? That's the way it works everywhere else in the world. It's America who's got this different structure set up, and this issue doesn't arise there. But whatever, people have to work out how to deal with it.
Well, let's face it, it's an industry where the historic or traditional distribution model in a lot of cases relies on confidentiality of your sourcing, and that's getting really slowly eroded, and that's just the way it is. The shows reflect what's actually going on. At least they will if they're going to continue, right? Well, the separation of the international booths from the rest of the floor was probably the most pronounced that it's ever been at the Fastener Show in Vegas. I think a lot of people made that observation, Bri. You pointed it out there a second ago. And I guess we'll just have to see. Again, that's one of these things we'll watch to see how it evolves. Rosa and Jake, did you venture out into that part of the show at all? Did you take a look at what they had to offer out in that part?
I did, and it honestly was a little confusing. I thought it was interesting how it went one way, and then all of a sudden you were turned around and it was going the other way. And right. Then the signs weren't really well, put in a proper spot. And so I kept getting lost. I think it took me like 20 minutes just to figure out where the beer garden is. I kept running around in circles. Yeah, I kept going to the session corner, and they're like, "No, it's by the machinery." And I'm like, "Where's the machinery?"
No, that's true. It is true. Where they had the row numbers hanging up, suddenly it all changed. You suddenly would end up, I've no idea where I am. I can't find out where to see a row number. And then you walk back up an aisle, try and look back to see, can I see any numbers anywhere?
That's kind of par for the course with Vegas, though. I usually find myself stumbling around not knowing where I am looking for the beer garden, so why should it be any different on the show floor?
I do admit the app was actually very helpful. I was trying to look for somebody. Honestly, I think it was you guys. I was trying to find you guys. And I asked somebody, said, "Hey, do you have a directory?" And they're like, "No, but I have an app." And sure enough, they pulled it up. There you were, and I was able to go straight to you. So,
wow, you did better than me.
The app did work nicely if you were looking for a specific, if you knew the name and you were looking for him. I don't know if you could search for beer garden, but the only time I really got over that direction was Thursday morning. Rosa and I participated in a young fastener professionals networking event that we can talk about now or later, but just my opinion on it. They couldn't have put it in a worse spot. It was just so far over in the corner, and I felt like that needed to be centered, closer to where they gave the Hall of Fame and that sessions area. I would build my show around that. Just one man's opinion.
Well taken. Well, listen, we're going down a checklist, it seems like, of grievances, and I don't think any of us really thinks the show overall was should be treated that way. Really, let's come back and talk about the energy, because I think the energy level was really high. On a personal level, I came into the whole thing feeling kind of flat because I had to do a huge amount of stuff. I had all the last minute things plus, just a lot of stuff. And all of a sudden when I got there, especially on that first morning, especially when I walked into the welcome reception, it was like a light switch. And suddenly I realized, oh, I'm here. It's showtime. And I think that's kind of the way it went the whole rest of the show, I mean, there's that feeling you get when you're there. And they had it this year.
Well, I don't know about that. I say that because, I hear people complaining that they had to wait, 15 minutes, 20 minutes just to get into the welcome reception. Another complaint was last year they had the bars everywhere. And this time the bar was only in one section. So there was lines like crazy, like you couldn't even move.
Right. And everyone was standing round the bars, okay, because they knew if they moved away, they'd never get a drink again, okay. And they ran out of red wine after 20 minutes.
Well, what they should have done was they should have billed that as a benefit. So you could have stood there and gotten a free suntan from those ginormous lights that were shining down on you while you're waiting for a drink, Rosa. Did you not do that?
No, I was actually in the Wi-Fi cabana because we had a cabana and a cabana boy who actually was helping us with the drinks. But
Wait. You're telling me that Wi-Fi had a cabana boy?
If I had a cabana boy, anybody that stayed in the cabana was offered a drink by a waiter, and they came and brought you your drink. And so
did you have someone to wave palm leaves over you to keep
keep you cool?
Yeah, peacock feathers or something, fans will do that. And
no, but Wi-Fi was giving away masquerade masks. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw them.
Yeah,
actually.
And it was actually a big hit, so we were very excited about that.
Actually, my comment about the opening reception, I think it was interesting and good to think of new ways of doing something. The lights were horrific because they were so bright that you basically couldn't see anybody unless the lights were behind you. So to find out who was there, if you went for a walk around, everyone was black until you turned around and realized that you could see them in the lights. I think it was very bad for sort of trying to meet people and just talking to people. You just didn't even see them.
So you didn't go for the complimentary suntan angle either, huh, Brian?
No, I thought it was terrible, actually.
Well, that was another thing. I don't think they promoted, because I don't know if you noticed, but the Hall of Fame winners actually had their own cabanas. Certain associations had their own cabanas, and that wasn't really publicized. I don't think people knew that or understood that until you officially went there.
I was just going to say, I think, we're kind of used to, I just compare it to last year or the year before, we're used to just walking in. I know they were somewhat limited on the amount of people they could have in there. And so, I mean, I think we have to kind of give pause to what transpired there just, over a year ago. And I think they did the best they could. I had I'll say I had a dinner at 7. So my thought was to get over there. I wasn't planning on being in line 10 minutes, but I got in, I saw a few people, I met a few people I hadn't never met before. And, then I had to leave. And fortunately or unfortunately, I then arrived at the restaurant and realized the reservation wasn't until 7:30. So I made my own mistake by trying to be too punctual. So, yeah, it was, Eric and I, we were walked up together at the same time. And I was kind of walking by myself and I thought, I'm just going to, tag along with Eric so I look cool. And that aspect of it worked out in that regard. So.
Is that what you do? Okay,
absolutely.
Eric, next time I'm going to be there next year, okay?
Yeah, okay. So we all go along with Eric so he can look cool. Please. You did have to say that, didn't you? Okay.
Speaking of looking cool, and with regard to these giant lights up there, fortunately for me, Laura Vath from Solution Industries was handing out these really cool Solution Man shades, and I popped those on, and I was walking around in style and comfort for the whole party. So I don't even think she realized that they would come in so handy, but thanks Solution Industries right there.
You mean looking cool and bumping into everything because you couldn't see through them?
That's right. Remember, Bright, maximum coolness.
Okay. It's not. It's not cool to be lying down on the ground, okay? Because you tripped over.
Did anybody attend sessions on Tuesday afternoon? I attended the Prop 65. I'll call seminar. I don't know what, and the tariff talk. Anybody else was in there?
We were setting up our booth. We don't have people like you do, Jake, to do that for us. And I'm glad you brought it up because I did talk with Carmen Vertullo. He put on the Prop 65 session, and he was pretty happy with the turnout. It was a paid session. It was like $50 to get in. So they didn't know how that would go. I think it paid for itself. He got to talk to a lot of people. And then, according to Morgan, the tariff session was absolutely a huge success, standing room only. So what were your thoughts on those?
I had done the with the Prop 65. I kind of just wanted to go and see if there was anything new in respect to the webinar. I did participate in the webinar that Carmen put on with the PacWest and FDA. And there was some additional information, a little bit of clarity to that, some crossover or some repetitiveness is probably a better word. But to the tariff, it was standing room only. I think everybody there, albeit foreign and domestic, were very interested in getting her thoughts, which was, from what my takeaway was, she sees that it continuing at least through 2019. So, you take that for what it is and go from there. But I thought they had really good attendance for both of those, and I will say I appreciate them putting those on. I think that's important to be able to have that either the day before, the day of shows.
Yeah, those sessions that start before the conference really begins, or I should say the show really begins, are always kind of hit or miss. And it looks like this year Emerald did, they scored. So good for them.
I only saw the picture, so it looked really, jam-packed in there.
But you guys need to get people to do your booth. I think that's the takeaway.
You're right. I was still playing around with wires, trying to get wires plugged in to make everything work, okay? Thanks, Jake. I'll think of that next year, okay?
Eric, let's look to outsource that.
Yeah, we got to get people, Brian. That's what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were the sessions on Tuesday, and that was October 30th. And then we were talking about the welcome reception, which I'll tell you, given all of the details that we already covered, I still had a blast. I only got one drink at the beginning, and I nursed it along the whole time, enjoyed it, made my way over to a few of the cabanas. One of them, I guess, was rented out by Hall of Fame award winner for 2018. That was Robbie Gilchrist. He was like holding court in there like Vito Don Corleone. It was something quite to behold. I believe that was right next door to Wi-Fi, Rosa, but made my way over there, talked to a whole lot of people, got my free sunglasses, and I had a good time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was going to say overall, it was really a nice event. It really was.
Now, what were you saying about the cabanas, though? Because I think you were going to say something, and then Jake was talking about something different. What was your comment about the cabanas?
No, I wish there was like a sign, letting them know that the Hall of Famers were going to be there, or even Wi-Fi, or even the other associations. So, you really had to do word of mouth. I literally went around the room going, hey, Wi-Fi is over there, come and visit. And sure enough, people came, but, it took work.
Yeah. No, what you're saying is right. There was no indication that there was anyone in any of the cabanas, okay? Because the lighting was so weird you couldn't see.
Well, this is another one of these things with moving the venue, because when you have the show at the same place year after year after year, you build no momentum, and the Vegas show doesn't have that anymore. And so I think Emerald is aware of that. I mean, that's just growing pains. And they, I think, set it all up so that everyone could have a party, and there was a party. It's just that it was a little disorganized. I bet you next year you do the same thing, and you'll get more value out of it just because people know where to go now.
True. I did see a photo booth there with Naked Elvis. I didn't really want to take a picture with Naked Elvis, but there was a photo booth there.
Hold on. What genre Elvis, beginning or end?
I don't like 50s Elvis with no shirt, skinny Elvis.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. That's okay.
Wait a second. Naked?
Yeah, what?
Okay,
So you're talking naked Elvises and Cabana Boys and
shirtless. Okay, shirtless. I'm sorry, he was shirtless. But when you take the picture, because I've seen some of these pictures, when you take the picture, you just see the top up, and so he looks naked. And I didn't want to do that.
So the show was a little different for you, Rosa, than for anyone else. I can see that.
Are you sure you don't want to give any disclaimers on behalf of Wi-Fi here real quick? I mean,
Wi-Fi is a great organization. I'm so proud to be part of it. So, and I'm proud to be part of Brighton Best too. So it's really good.
Hey, awesome. Just a quick shout out on the Wi-Fi for the Wi-Fi brother on the T-shirts. So I came back with a couple of those. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for including us gents, and always keep up the good work.
You're a Wi-Fi brother now?
Absolutely, I was last year.
Well, so you're in all these things. How do you do? See, we're talking about cool. So now, with regard to the young fastener professionals, or are we talking about that in a minute? We haven't got to that part yet. But you're a young fastener professional, aren't you?
A tweener, yeah, officially. I think I joined on just when I was 39, and they've allowed me to stay in. But I have to go before the board every year, kind of the council, and it's each year it's.
All right, so you squeezed in. That's kind of funny that you're grandfathered in to the young fastener professionals.
Yeah, I know. It's that sort of an oxymoron. Okay.
All right, what's a fastener industry? We'll roll with it. Well, we all made it back to our rooms somehow, and on Wednesday morning, I could tell you this because I met with all of you before the show opened. We were all looking good. We were all ready for a good day. We looked good. We looked strong. Looked like we had a nice, nutritious breakfast in most cases. But one thing was missing, and that was a good, strong cup of bean. Fortunately, we knew where to go. That was the BTM booth. And Jake, I'd say you had a smash hit with your U-Bolt blend coffee. You did a good job of promoting it. So
thank you. Enjoyed that immensely. I'm very proud of it, and very proud to partner with the coffee house Elios here in Independence, Missouri. It's a ministry-based, Christian-based ministry outreach. They roast it, and we went over in September, Jacqueline and I, who oversees kind of our social media and marketing, and we went over and actually took it from bean to roasting to bagging, just the whole entire process, and it was just so cool. And in all the conglomerate type worlds of coffee, for them to do what they do and for us to partner with them is just it's a special friendship and partnership. So. And what started out as something that I wanted at a show that nobody else had is kind of taking a life of its own, because it's really, really good coffee if you're into that.
It beats the pants off fridge magnets that fall off the fridges. That I can tell you, okay?
Well, I'd say first of all, you're definitely on the map with it. I don't know if you saw out there yet, but earlier today, Jackie Kind of a Big Deal Ventura she tweeted a photo of herself in her kitchen with Nick the Fastener dog drinking out of the Big Deal coffee mug, and there in the foreground, conspicuously placed, was a bag of the aforementioned BTM Manufacturing U-Bolt blend coffee. So it's out there, man.
Yeah, we're just slowly and surely, enjoying it, every part of it.
Plus, now we have another beverage for the teetotalers of the industry, or the over-enjoyers of the other stalwart beverage, which, of course, everyone knows is Old Rusty Bolt beer.
Absolutely. And I kind of planned ahead for next year. We are right across the aisle from Old Rusty Bolt, so we'll be set up perfectly. And I think, my biggest takeaway was to order more coffee for day 2.
You were thinking, Jake. That's great to know. Buckeye Fasteners, of course, another friend of the podcast. They rolled out the Old Rusty on day 1. I was there for the keg tapping. Clayton Allen, he's always a really good sport. You heard him at the very top of the podcast. He was a very amusing human keg. He was there for the ceremony. Folks, if you get out on Twitter, go look at the Fully Threaded feed, and there's a photo of him. Quite a captivating and thirst-inspiring outfit, if I say so myself. That was a lot of fun. So we had coffee, we had beer, we had really cool sunglasses. We had all kinds of things. What was it like over at the Brighton booth, Rosa?
Oh my God, it was amazing. We were giving away gloves and beanies and, flashlights and golf gloves and all kinds of stuff. So it was just amazing. It was busy, and it was so nice to see everybody. Everybody actually was a little bit excited because John and Peggy were getting the Young Fastener Professional Award, and so we were there to pretty much celebrate as well.
Yeah, usually you guys have about, 200 Brighton representatives in your booth, and this year you might have gone north of that for the occasion, right?
Well, normally we invite 2 managers per location, so we have 34 locations worldwide. So we had managers there from Brazil, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all over. So we were very excited to see everybody again.
Team Brighton was certainly out in full force. So outside of our own booths, what did you see when you made your way around the show? I mean, anything stand out? Was there a theme? Were people discussing anything in particular that you caught wind of? I mean, what was the vibe out there, guys?
Okay, so I want to say thank you to Brighton Best and Ironclad because they donated to Wi-Fi pink Tough Chick Ironclad gloves. I think Jackie got a pair, so hopefully,
cool.
Hopefully she'll tweet that, but if not, it's okay. But overall, I did make myself to the AFIX Crossroads booth because being a Dodger fan, Steve Yeager was there and John Johnstone, and he had a couple of Dodger legends really. So I thought that was pretty amazing.
That's really cool. I didn't get wind of that.
You didn't?
No,
oh my
I
God.
didn't. I never even heard of that.
I was literally in tears. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm like, I am such a Dodger fan. It was to the point where the Lehman ladies, Kelly especially, Kelly and Deb, were looking for me. I mean, they knew how much of a Dodger fan that I am, that they were literally tracking me down. They were like, Rosa, you need to be here. And once I found them, I kind of just pretty much stayed there until they left.
Awestruck, yeah.
That's something you don't see a lot of in the fastener industry at our shows. There aren't a lot of celebrity appearances. It's just not a thing.
No, and I walked by it, and the Steve Yeager one I noticed, but being a Kansas City Royals fan and not a Dodgers fan, but I got to speak to Rosa like at the Young Fasteners, and she was so excited about it. It was just awesome to see. So, and their booth was that particular booth. I had, they had those simulation or something on the home run or something like that. Pretty cool. But I was expecting more people to dress up for Halloween. I mean, I went all out this year, and I was expecting more people to be dressed up. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Wait a second. What do you mean you went all out? What, did I miss something?
No, I wore a red polo and khakis, and then once I got in the show, I put on a Jake from State Farm, ID kind of badge.
Okay, so you were dressed as a fastener distributor, manufacturer, proprietor. Was that it?
Yeah, there was basically that until I put the name tag on, and then everybody got it. So everybody's like, "You got your khakis on," and so this year I had them on. So
yeah, I have to be educated a little more widely on some of these things. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to do a special segment on subtle costumes at some point. I don't know.
Jake from State Farm, the commercial that they played like for 4,000 times over the last couple of years.
Ah, okay. So that explains it. You're talking to a couple like societal exiles here. So I missed that one. Okay. I'm sure it was true to life. Well, I haven't gone through all the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey's floor interviews yet, but by this time in the podcast, we will already have played them, and she told me that she did a lot of talking with folks about the big issues of the day, including the tariff situation. Now, while you were on the floor, and in particular you, Rosa, did you get an impression about that, or is it just more of the same, or are people ignoring it? Are they talking about it too much? I mean, what's the sense out there? What was it on the show floor?
Interestingly enough, I did not have one single conversation about the tariffs, not even one. Which was actually a little surprising to me. I thought for sure they were going to, ask me about, what's going on for the future, 2019. They were more interested about, what's coming down the pipeline for our vending, for our ironclad gloves, but no conversation at all about the tariffs. Maybe somebody else did. I know I didn't.
And you're a domestic manufacturer, Jake. So how about on your side?
Yeah, not much talk of it. Certainly it's something that we've been talking about, really since the first quarter of 18. And what my biggest takeaway from the entire 2 days of the show was just how busy the industry is right now. Speaking to other manufacturers, I just don't know anybody that's slow. Everybody is dealing with long extended lead times, raw material. I don't want to say shortages, but just issues in that regard. It just seems like a great problem to have, is kind of what I heard people say. So it's a very, very fluid time in the industry. But nobody, for us as a domestic manufacturer, 100%, it's affected our price mostly in raw materials. Prices started going up the first quarter of 18, just when they started talking about it and before it really was implemented. So things are booming right now, but you got that sense from talking to screw manufacturers and even the master distributors, and it's just a very, very dynamic industry right now, all across the board, in my opinion.
Well, I guess it's not surprising. People are talking about, in many cases, effects of the tariffs or the environment with the effects of tariffs, but they're not talking about the tariffs themselves, which is par for the course. It's really a pretty dry topic. So then, regarding the boom days that we're experiencing and all the dynamic shifts and all that, are people still expressing optimism? Or now we pay close attention to the Fastener Distributor Index, and the forward-looking Outlook Index is still fairly positive. Did you guys get the same sense talking with people?
Yes, I did. It was strange because I remember, like, in the beginning of the year, everybody was kind of saying how 2019 is going to be, stagnant, or it's just going to stop growing. But by the end of this year, people are seeing growth. People are very optimistic about 2019. They're going full steam ahead. They're bringing in more stock. And, it's very, very nice to know that people have that confidence in not only the economy, but in the products.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, like I kind of reiterate, it's just, I think everybody kind of I've read that things are going to slow down here in the last quarter of 18, and 19 is going to be a strong year, but it's not going to mirror 18. It's going to be down, a few percentage points, but it's still going to be, strong in comparison with previous years. I think a lot of people stocked up, just on the commodity side of things. I think a lot of people bought heavy just with all the tariff talks in the second and third quarters. So any type of, slowdown might just be, they don't need it because they bought twice as much or whatever in that situation. So I think there's a little bit of talk of that. I've read and heard some of that buying in the second and third quarter, but to Rosa's point, I haven't seen any slowdown on distribution or, manufacturing side of things. It just seems like, pedal to the metal, which is great.
Yeah, and truth be told, it's hard to talk about it. With the whole tariffs, it's very fluid. Anything can happen. Something can change tomorrow. Something can change in the next couple of months. So we pretty much just have to wait for it.
Good thing there's Fastener Talk Radio. That's all I have to say. Well, during the afternoon on day one of the show, the Young Fastener Professional event took place. And Jake, I'm guessing you made your way over there. How did that go this year? It always seems to be a pretty worthwhile event.
I did. It was good. It was a Thursday morning. Is that right, Rosa? It all kind of rolled together. Yeah, Thursday morning, 10:30ish. Smaller group than previous years. And I feel, again, I'm always blessed to be let in. I kind of stand outside and just wait for Barron to give me the head nod to come on in. So I'm always appreciative of that. A smaller group this year, but again, I guess my critique, I just wanted that to be in the center. I just felt like it was so far off, just kind of stuck in the corner. Into that, I'll kind of jump on that with the Hall of Fame session. I remember in past shows, they would announce things. Hey, we've got the Hall of Fame coming up at 2:30, Young Fasteners at 10:30, and there just wasn't really any announcement. So if that's just kind of a takeaway from my part, is to get the whole show floor involved.
Yeah, well, you're right, actually, Jake, because normally I noted, just comment that to Eric, normally at 9 o'clock or something, someone says the show's open.
Yeah.
And nothing. It's like a stunned silence. The only way you can tell is suddenly people are walking around, okay? I agree with you. It was a sort of missing to me a bit.
So I just had it on, I had putting things on there that I wanted to attend on my phone. So I just, and set an alarm in 15 minutes and, popped in and went over and into the Hall of Fame on Wednesday. And then I wanted to do the Young Fasteners event as well. So, but I would have just thought a little bit more, jumping on the PA system, saying, this is happening in 15 minutes, opening the show, closing the show. I guess that's just kind of what we're used to. So
there's no doubt that the show needs improvement, from, being able to put more signs to making announcements, to letting people aware of what's going on.
I also talked with Morgan Wilson about that topic and asked him, I was scratching my head about it myself, and a lot of other folks were. A lot of people mentioned it to me, and I think that this is just sort of a point of frustration for them because they realized that it needed to be done, and I don't quite understand what the snafu was, but I think that message was received loud and clear. I was thinking about this. Even the overhead announcements, if you're in the middle of a conversation, you really don't hear them, and I could have sworn I heard at least one announcement during the show, and I remember remarking to myself, man, that is just so distorted sounding. I couldn't even make out what they said. So I was wondering, what do you guys think if they sent messages out to people who pre-signed up to be alerted by text? Everybody's dialed into getting their messages on text now. And I can't think of a better way, if you wanted to be, not spammy, but if you sign up for it, if you were alerted to these different sessions getting a text message. What do you think of that?
I wouldn't mind, actually.
I think it would work. And I don't mean to talk over Rosa, but I know they, with the app they kind of threw out some information on that. And maybe that was their choice of, I'm just kind of looking at it. Here I got, speed networking presented by Young Fasteners Professionals at, that was it. I got that on November 1st. I don't know what time, but they kind of had, some loaded stuff. But if you didn't have the app, you weren't going to see that, right? So
I was wondering, Jake, did the app have like alarm? Meaning, like, if there was a session, the alarm would come off or something?
I think if you had the app, it popped up on your phone, but I don't think you could have. I think it just kind of like a notification. But I didn't set anything to that particular. I just kind of look at it. I just pulled it up here as we're talking. Happy hour at the beer garden, free beer from 1:30, until 2. I missed that one, unfortunately. Dang it. But I'm just trying to figure out ways that past shows, I just feel like they would come on and maybe give you a 15-minute warning for Hall of Fame. I felt like that had a great crowd. I thought it did a good job. I thought Mr. Sachs and Mr. Gilchrist and the BBI folks did great. But why not get more people there, right? So
yeah, you're right.
The lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey was out there for that. Of course, we heard from the award winners earlier in the podcast. And what do you think the head count was, Jake? How many people did attend the ceremony?
I know some people kind of popped in and maybe waited or listened to a certain thing, but I'd say maybe 75, including those sitting and standing. Rosa, we were in the first couple rows, so I don't know exactly who was all behind standing. Maybe
Yeah, I'll admit, I was too busy recording the whole ceremony and taking pictures, so I didn't get a chance to see who was there or who wasn't there. But it was fantastic. I only been to 2 Hall of Fames. I did the one where it was Mr. Robert Hsieh, and that was a private event, and that was really nice. And I also went to John and Peggy's, obviously, where it was open to everybody. And so that had a different environment, but it was still wonderful, it was still lovely. And I thought it was a great event. I missed you, though, Eric. Normally, last year, didn't you announce it? Plus the scholarships and everything else?
I had a larger role last year. That is correct. This year, Lynn was there doing some recording for us. I was working the booth with Brian, and it's another one of those things. I intended to go, even though we had coverage. You know, you look up and you say, "Oh man, it's going on," and I was in the heat of battle, right? So that's how that planned out for me this year. That was one of the reasons I thought of that text idea, because I know if I was a show organizer, it would give me fits. Most people were not using the app. I think it's a great idea. People don't use it. When Twitter first came out and people started jumping into it to the extent that they did, they were giving out tweets or people were tweeting, and that went nowhere. People just weren't paying attention to it. So how do you communicate with people? Well, everybody looks at their phone continuously today, right? That's why the texting was my one idea.
No, I think it's a good idea. You got to be able to grab their attention and just to remind them. Unless, like I said, I had a couple things on my calendar that I knew I wanted to attend, so I put them on my physical calendar within my iPhone. So that was how I handled it. But like you said, it's not a spam thing where if you have the app, you're going to get it, or if you're an attendee, you're going to get it. They've got all your information. Sign up for it. Just send them your info, sign up for it, and then you're choosing in. And if you want to opt out, I'm sure you could opt out at any point.
Right. Right. Or if you're like Brian, you wouldn't need it because you stay in the booth basically for the entire show and you can't leave.
I'm chained.
Brian was working. Every time I passed by, Brian was working it. Good job, Brian.
It's important that we keep feeding him and keeping him hydrated. So let's remember that, folks.
Yep, I make sure that people who are walking past, even if their eyes are somewhere else, that I at least say hi to them or something to distract them.
Yes, you've become a pro at working the booth, that's for sure, and thank goodness for that. Well, that first day wound up, and there were a couple of open house type events that happened. Of course, there were several private ones, and some companies put those on in various very exclusive, chic penthouse locations, but there were also a couple that were accessible for the masses. One of them, of course, was the Brighton Best Cocktail Hour, which happened right after the show that day. And I tell you, I really appreciate the invitation. Rosa, we were able to attend. Brian and Lynn and Jackie and I rolled into that party, and I tell you, it was a spread.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys had a great time. We had photo booth. We had, decorations. We had a spooky cocktail drink, even pumpkin beer. So we tried to make it a little bit special.
Now, I missed the pumpkin beer, and I decided the special cocktail drink wasn't for me, actually. But I'm sure it was very good for other people. By then I was just, all I wanted was something, water or something to drink after talking to people for 8 or 9 hours.
You didn't like the eyeball that was in your drink? So.
No, but Lynn put the eyeball in hers. She wanted it, okay?
It was great. It was great.
That's what I was expecting more of that on the show floor, but I guess maybe we were all trying to be professional.
I wasn't.
And I think a lot of people forgot that it was Halloween, just kind of in business mode, and so it was just kind of a fun day.
Now, what I would say is that I think George Hunt gave a beautiful speech, talking about Steve Andrasik. Very heartfelt speech.
Yes, we made the Halloween party a little bit more special. Steve Andrasik, our vice president of sales, is with us for over 40 years, has been with Brighton Best. And so we did this ceremony for him right in the beginning of the show. So George head that up, and he did a fantastic job. So I was very proud of him. It was also our 10-year anniversary from when Ta-Chen, our parent company, purchased Brighton Best Socket Screw Manufacturing. So we wanted to make sure we celebrated that as well, including John and Peggy's Young Fastener Professional win. So we did go a little bit above and beyond what we normally do for the cocktail party because we did want to make it special.
Well, we picked a good year to attend, Bri. George Hunt III did a great job with that presentation to Stephen Drasik. And folks, if you did not catch the episode with George talking about, well, his fastener career in general, but also his very special mentor-mentee relationship with Steve Andrasik, you may be sure to catch that. It was kind of a continuation in one way, and I was glad to witness that. And again, thank you so much for the invitation. It was a very well-attended event, and I would say everyone on Team Brighton should be satisfied.
We were. And thank you all to all the customers that came. Honestly, it means a lot to us.
Who won the VR goggles?
I'll be honest, I don't remember. But we gave away some fantastic prizes, all the way from mini iPads.
I know you did.
We literally went out. There was no doubt.
Yeah, I know you did. And I was thinking it's a bit of a problem. Where do I put my little raffle ticket? I mean, which of the boxes do I put it in? Normally it's not such a problem choosing.
Yeah, tough time deciding, Brian.
Yeah, there's a whole set of good prizes.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Well, Jake was too cool to come to the party, so.
Somehow all of us made it back to the show floor on Thursday morning. And again, U-Bolt Blend Coffee was there to welcome us. I guess we just passed over what happened at the Eye Candy Lounge. Did anybody go to the cocktail hour there? I heard that it was very well attended. Of course, I had some other stuff going on, so that was another thing that I was not able to go to. But what did you hear about that, guys?
I stopped by maybe 30 minutes, just kind of in between one open house, if you want to call it, and then the Eye Candy with Cambridge. Probably I had a dinner at 7 with a supplier. So had about 30 minutes and just, had a drink and just was able to catch up with the Cambridge folks, Brian and Vic and Tommy, and probably missing a couple more, but pretty good crowd. I think they kind of had a section of the bar, closed for their little party, but always appreciative of them. And you just kind of have to pick and choose, where you want to go, where you need to be, based on if you do have plans. So I had a good time.
I did notice there was a little bit more suppliers and customers at the Eye Candy, but it was fantastic. Everybody was there. Barron was there. The Advanced Components teams was there. The Metric and Multis, Bob Bear. Pretty much anybody that you associate a name to was pretty much there. And they're all having a great time.
And I thought it was pretty busy on Tuesday night, kind of leading up to the show. It was pretty packed at that point.
Well, that's cool because, like we were talking before, the lack of momentum and that lack of an anchor meeting place is something that the shows sorely lack. We had the Bourbon Room sort of there for a while, even though it was very loud. It was really all we had. And now, hopefully, the Eye Candy Bar is going to be that place starting this year, and I bet you it'll be even bigger next year.
It's well located. I mean, you can't really miss it, no matter where you're staying. If you're at Mandalay Bay or over at the Luxor or Delano, or it's right there, smack dab in the middle. So
the flow was a little different. People didn't know really where our VIP section was, so they were kind of scattered around. And then later on in the night, you hear people saying, "Hey, we're supposed to be in that corner. We're supposed to be in that corner." But by that time, you're already halfway there, so it was really hard to get over there.
So it was a little bit more dispersed than possibly it was originally intended, but there was nevertheless a pretty good turnout.
I think so.
The second night was different. Everybody's pretty much having their dinners. Everybody's pretty much having, other things. So it wasn't as well attended as the first night.
Okay.
I would agree. Yeah, Wednesday night was a little bit slower. And I put all my chips in, and I had a migraine or something going on about 10 p.m. and I just had enough. So but man, it makes a world of difference if you get a lot of sleep. I know that because Thursday I felt like $1 million.
Yeah, you have to be very judicious how much time you allocate to these bars, okay?
Well, not only all of that, I would agree with all of it, but as good as U-Bolt blend coffee is, you should limit yourself to 14, 15 cups.
Yeah, I wish I had a picture of Eric's face when he came over and we were out. So that would have been something to catch and maybe post at next year's booth. Get it while you can.
So much for the bottomless cup.
You got to, lesson learned, Eric. I got you next year, man. I promise.
It was a tune-up year in a lot of ways. I mean, we didn't intend for this segment to really turn into a gripe session. I mean, there have been a lot of comments, criticisms, constructive criticisms. But, my sense is that it's a tune-up. So next year, watch out. That's what I got to say.
Do they have an advisory committee? Do you know?
Yeah, they have an advisory committee, and that's call Morgan or talk to Morgan, and, he's listening. I tell you, one thing about these folks at Emerald, they're listening and they're trying. That I can vouch for. And I'll tell you, during the conversation I had with him, he wanted us to emphasize that the surveys that they ask all the attendees to complete are definitely important. And he said that sometime around the time that we're publishing this podcast, they're going to be distributing via email or social media. I'm not exactly sure, but they'll be putting that survey out. Fill it out because they're paying attention. And I tell you, they're invested in making this the best show it can be.
Yeah. I mean, some of the learning was things like, where do you go and have breakfast? Because you can't afford to be sitting in line for half an hour to try and have breakfast. And if you're going to be in the booth for 8 hours, you've got to have something to start off with. So we finally found, I guess, the second day where you can run away and have a decent omelette.
I will say, just from Tuesday, I grabbed a bite at that food court. And granted, it's priced accordingly, kind of supply and demand. But that was a nice option to be able to pop in there and grab a slice of pizza and a beverage and sit down and have a quick lunch before I went into the Prop 65 thing. So I talked to Morgan on Thursday afternoon, and I don't want this to come off as a gripe session. I love the show. I love the opportunity to get in front of customers and the genuine friendships that this industry has given me. I love it. It's like I said, it's why I get excited about going each and every year, and why I get excited about doing things with the smaller associations. It's the friendships out of it. So I just want to maximize, I think all of us would agree we want to maximize our time there because of the expense is only going to go up.
Right. The question then is, how do we maximize our time on the second day?
That's so hard, And I say that because coming from California, most people in California drive that morning and then drive back that night. And so they don't really utilize the second day.
My personal opinion, and again, and what I kind of told Morgan was, listen, I know you have contracts and all of this stuff with hotels and convention centers, but to me, I think it's a day and a half maximum. I would love somebody to try a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6 one-day show, no matter where it's at.
I don't know how you do it. Look, my view is that the day and a half thing seems to work. I mean, because the second day is quiet. But it's the time when, if you are if you've got a booth, that's the one time you can actually run around and talk to people that, when there's people running past your booth all day, you never get to see anything. You don't get to see anyone. So that's my time. Now, do I want to be there till 4:00 in the afternoon? Absolutely not. Okay. Because basically there's no one walking around that you're going to be doing any business with after lunchtime.
I do admit the second day, though. I do admit the second day is when the associations get busy, because that's when the suppliers actually come to Association Row and actually talk to us. First of all, I want to thank everybody that worked the Wi-Fi booth, especially Jen from DLP. We raised over $3,000 in either wearables or new memberships. So I thought that was fantastic. But the majority of it was literally on the second day.
And true, but that's when we get to meet the people who are our own, members who actually had booths at the show. The second morning is when you meet everyone. So I don't know if I want to see it for one day, Jake, but I think that what's on people's minds is staying an extra night in Las Vegas is sort of an expensive proposition. I mean, it's not a cheap place to stay. And so you're faced with, just for the sake of keeping your booth open for another, 4 hours, you're going to spend another couple of $100, or, that's for the room, and you've got to eat. So it's an expensive proposition.
No, I just kind of throw it out there. I mean, I think the perfect show is a 9 to 3. I think if, some of the, I'll call them open houses. I don't know if that's what, but they kind of pull people off. And if they start at 3:00, well, you lose that traffic, right? Go 9 to 3, and then, the next day go 9 to 1, because I don't think people would then go to lunch, and they would go that 4 hour 9 to 1 and be done. And then if people want to get out of there and catch a 3:00, 4:00 flight home, they can, or drive back, as Rosa said, for those on the West Coast.
Do we know the thinking behind the second day, like why they extended it?
Well, look, I don't know why they extended it, but this is the eternal question. What is the perfect timing, and how do they make everybody happy, which they never will. They're trying, but they never will. And I think the extension of the second day had something to do with the idea of getting more people to the floor. The theory being, if it's a full day, more people stay, more people on the floor. This year, it didn't seem like it panned out that way. Now, I could tell you this, regardless of what we talk about here, next year's show, International Fastener Expo 2019, will be taking place September 17th through the 19th. So it'll be 2 days on the floor, Jake. And the one change, this is fairly minor, it's going to be at Mandalay Bay again, but they're moving down the hallway, one room, they're calling it. So it won't be on the same floor space, but it'll be just adjacent to where it was this year. So not a big change there. Although the floor layout ramifications, who knows? So hopefully they're hearing some of your recommendations, Jake, loud and clear, in terms of possibly centering the show around the presentation space. Not sure there, but the hours are right now slated to be the same. Having said that, Morgan seemed like he was very much considering participating in some tweaking of it, meaning they might make the first day a little longer and the second day a little shorter. So, folks, if you're listening to this podcast, you have an opinion on that, let Emerald know, because, again, they're shooting for perfection. Haven't hit it yet. On the other hand, who has? But they're trying and they're listening.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard it lands on Yom Kippur. And so there's a lot of Jewish exhibitors that are not happy about that because they're not able to attend.
I think that's in 2020, Rosa, not 2019. Don't quote me on that, but I know one of them does. Yes, you are correct. So, and there's some frustration in that as well.
Well, those are the dates. Next year, it's the 17th through the 19th. Forgive me for not knowing the answer to that one, Rosa, but that's what we'll be dealing with. I mean, we have dropout every year. Hey, remember one year, several years back, it was on National Election Day. That was a weird one. I'll tell you, flying back home. I think a lot of people absentee voted that year. Of course, now early voting and everything, it seems like it's so much more of a big deal, a wider spread thing than it used to be. Now you can basically vote in July, it seems like. But back then, I remember it was really kind of a headache. And I did absentee that year. In any case, every year seems to have its conflicts.
Actually, that was the year President Obama got elected, if you remember. You and I flew back into Chicago that night. I remember that.
I think I was at staff that particular year. It was weird to be flying on an election day.
We were talking, or I was talking a few moments ago about the use of Twitter at the show and how it was, we were thinking, this is going to be this great thing. And then it turned out to be kind of a dud. I put a tweet out there ahead of the show asking just in general, what should a good taxi rate be, or a fair taxi rate from the airport to Mandalay? And which I really actually did kind of want to know, because I was reading all these things online about getting ripped off by cabs and so forth. And, I was really surprised. I mean, I did get a couple of responses to that question, but they came after the show. But overall, I would have to say it's just not like the worldwide CB radio effect that I thought it would be years ago. What about you guys? Are you using Twitter at all?
Why would you be worrying about a taxi fare? Why wouldn't you take Uber?
Same thing. The question is, no. I put a tweet out there asking about rates, and it was crickets basically.
So anybody that knows me knows that I'm actually in social media a lot. I'm Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it. So, I'm a heavy user. That said, being a heavy user at the show is hard. I don't have time to tweet. I don't have time to take 50 million photos. I'm talking to customers. I'm trying to sell. I'm trying to, visit everybody. So having two interactions is very difficult for me. Also, I noticed that if they had maybe a screen, because I know in STAFTA last year, they had screens. So anybody that tweeted would actually be put up in the screen, and you saw more of a reaction saying, oh, let me tweet this, or let me have this photo, because you would see that picture up on the screen and people would be more activated to actually participate. So it's a catch-22. Half the time I forgot, to tweet. The other half is I'm too busy to do it. But, I would love to have, more social media interaction.
I did see your tweet, Eric, I think on Monday night. And I had dinner, was fortunate enough to have dinner with XL Screw and Tracy Link with, not Tracy Lumia with the Distributors Link. That's funny. And Brian with Cambridge. And I had seen it, and Tracy had an issue where the driver, and I don't know Uber or taxi, but he literally told her he made 2 wrong turns and still charged her like $40 for her ride from the airport, because she's done it enough to know that you can go out of the airport, take a couple lefts, and you're there, right?
Well, that was exactly the kind of horror story that I was reading about, and I hadn't been from the airport to Mandalay in so long. I didn't know, so I figured I would throw it out there. And yeah, I saw finally a tweet that responded. It was after the show, but that's a screamer. $45, and they admitted that they screwed up. So at that point, there's got to be some recourse. I don't know. I don't take enough cabs to know what I would do in that eventuality. But I guess for us, there's 3 guys we got in. The cab driver took one look at us and took the shortest route there, and it was like $14.
In general, Uber costs $12 from the airport to a hotel. The problem is they're so far hidden, made Uber nearly impossible to find, which is the trouble, of course.
Right. Well, to answer your question about why no Uber in this case, that was exactly it, because we would have had to have gone all the way from where the taxis were up a floor and then across. And so the guys I was with, we were all standing right there in front of a car. It was just the most convenient thing to do at that moment. But coming back to the whole Twitter thing, I mean, I don't want to dwell on this. It's not like a societal failing that people aren't using it, or fastener people aren't using it. It's huge out there in use in general, but the fastener industry, it's just really not. There's a little bit of conversation out there back and forth, but it's just not that medium that a lot of us thought that it might be once upon a time. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of surprising to me.
I think, and I was just kind of looking as Rosa was talking and you guys were talking, I was just looking at our feed, BTM's feed, and I brought Jacqueline out this year just because she's been with us for a year and she manages our marketing and social media. So I did a little video each morning and then kind of a video at the end, and we put it out there. I don't know who sees it from a standpoint of people and analytics of it. It's fun to me. To Rosa's point, it's not like we have a lot of time to check it during the show. It's probably more, I think I've seen more people do things, like things and retweet things after the few days after the show as opposed to instantaneous. But Rosa, to her point of STAFTA encourages you to do that. I've been there to shows where if you use a certain hashtag or you post it and you link them, notify them within your tweet that they posted, and you can be at their welcome reception and see your tweet, or it's pretty cool. So it's all depending on how people want to use it. So if it's encouraged by Emerald, I think it would grow. But I think we got a good little fastener niche group that uses it. I enjoy it and have some laughs from time to time.
Yeah, I agree. We have fun with it. There's a small group of us that use it quite sparingly. I'll say it that way. But when we do, it's fun. And I'll say this also about the fastener community using Twitter. Twitter's got a bad rap, or it's an accurate rap, but it's bad. And that is that there's these Twitter gangs, and they will really gang up on people and force them out if they don't agree with something they said. And fortunately, nothing like that I'm aware of has ever happened in the fastener area. It's pretty professional for the most part, and some lightheartedness is out there, but everybody keeps it very civil. So I think there's room for that, because I'll tell you, the first thing I thought of when you were explaining how your idea about how maybe Emerald could incorporate that onto the show floor is like, okay, how do you monitor that? What's to prevent somebody from, going a little overboard? But I tell you, I wouldn't put that on my top of concerns. I don't know.
Yeah, certainly somebody would have to monitor in good taste those that you would make public. And again, I can only speak to the experience that Rosa mentioned and with STAFTA, but you see it. I've been to Royals games. I've been to ball games where they encourage you to do hashtag, and for some that's going somewhere, and they're choosing what to put out there as opposed to what we see, as opposed to what they're going to put out there. My biggest thing in all of it is to get Brian on Twitter. So.
I knew that. See how I'm sitting here really, really quietly while this conversation's going on.
Well, technically, Brian is on Twitter.
Technically, thanks, Rosa. You're right.
I can sense the dread. You were very silent there, Brian. Well, that's okay. You know what? I think I do enough for the both of us, and that's not a lot, but we get the job done. And you know what? I would gladly get out there and use the thing a lot more if I had just received a few more answers to my tweet, and ahead of the show too, by the way, folks. It's real-time communication. If you answer 10 days later, it's not the same.
I tweeted you on October 29th. I replied to Fully Threaded and Official Link Mag that Tracy paid $26 and that she was ticked off.
And for that, and I appreciate it, Jay. But my point is that you and who else? Nobody.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So I didn't get an answer to the question. And here's the other thing. I actually put a hashtag on there that should have been seen by a lot of people outside the fastener world, right? I mean, this is Twitter. This is a giant universe.
What was the hashtag?
Vegas. Wouldn't you think hashtag Vegas is seen by, a few people at least? I mean, come on.
It's fastener people is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It surprised me because I understand a little bit the fastener Twitter community, I think. And so I prepared for that. Anyway, I guess maybe I just don't understand Twitter, or maybe I asked the question incorrectly. I don't know.
Maybe we're in the wrong platform. Maybe we should be doing Instagram instead of Twitter.
Well, you're the one that's out there. What do you think? I mean, are there any fastener people? Frankly, I don't want any more social media platforms to deal with. However, if there's one that makes sense, I'm open to it. Are there fastener people? Is it a place where business and friendships are conducted fastener-wise?
No. It's just Instagram is just more user-friendly because it's really just photos. And as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. But there's really no interaction, conversation like Twitter. So that's just a little different. The problem with me with Twitter and Snapchat is the fact that you have to constantly be on it, because if not, you're going to miss it, and I don't like to be forced into that. I don't like to be able to be locked on my phone 24 hours just because, the FOMO theory, I don't want to do that.
Don't tell my wife that, please.
Okay. That'll cost you some coffee, Jake, okay?
I know. I appreciate that. But like tonight, and I don't want to get political, but tonight with election returns and everything, this is like a Twitter night made in heaven for me. So it's just, I love it. So it's just instantaneous and it's just opinionated. And certainly I only follow one certain side, right? So it's going to be good or bad, whichever. But I love it during sporting events, elections, debates, things like that. So it's just a lot of fun.
Now, are you a guy who's got a lot of gimmick accounts out there, and so you're doing this under an assumed identity, or?
I don't have any shadow accounts. I've got Jake Davis, and then we've got BTM, and we've got ISCO Incorporated, and that's it. So,
speaking of ISCO, but way before I ever heard of BTM Manufacturing, I knew you as the ISCO guy.
Uh-huh.
And now, is your dad mad at us?
In what regard?
Well, like right before we left for Vegas, your dad, Joe, he submitted some tech support thing to the network, and it had to do with his inventory. And so I saw it was him, and I was, like out to the airport, and I picked up the phone, and I'm like, well, I got to take care of this, And so I tried to have a very straightforward conversation with him about the inventory question, and I tried to put the wheels in motion, but I don't know if we got that nailed the way he was thinking. Did you get wind of this?
I didn't get wind, so 2 thumbs up. I think you're in the clear. So, yeah, it's all good. So I haven't heard of it since I got back on Friday, so I would consider yourself clear.
Okay. Yeah, it had to do with a bit of a confusion between spiral with an OL and spiral with an AL, okay?
Oh, man. Wow. I'm glad I was gone for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think we got it resolved, okay?
That was kind of a who's on first kind of a conversation.
I will check in and let you guys know.
Okay.
How's that?
Hey, please.
And you guys have a lot of spiral stuff sitting on your shelves, whether it's spiral or otherwise. That's all I have to say. So you're going to make a push, Rosa, in closing up that whole thought about the social media. You're going to make a push for Instagram, or you're going to leave it alone?
I'm going to leave it alone. Between Brighton Best, Wi-Fi, and my own accounts, I'm overwhelmed. Actually, no, it's pretty fun. Other job pays you to be on Facebook, so it's actually really nice.
Eric doesn't pay me to be on Facebook.
That's because you're not.
If I was paid up.
Yeah, we could get you more money, Brian, if you got on more platforms.
I can see why people are not in social media, mainly because it's all content based. You need to have content to put stuff out there. Between Preferred, Ironclad, Brighton Best, I'm constantly trying to look for content of what to put out there. The excitement, company news, the industry news. So I understand that to come up with content all the time is maybe difficult for some people.
Maybe you should start a podcast or have a Wi-Fi Cabana Boy contest.
Will you be our Cabana Boy, Eric?
Well, I would, but I got the FCH thing, I got the fully threaded thing, now I'm like a fishing tackle wholesaler type guy. I got all this stuff, but we could talk.
First of all, that tackle thing is amazing. Both of you guys did a great job. I saw that live and in person. I thought that was beautifully done.
You're speaking of the FCH thread Shad, Rosa.
Yes. Did anybody win it, or is that something you're going to announce later?
Thank you for asking, and thank you also for the comment. I could see the twinkle in your eye when you set your eyes on it, and yes, you did put a entry into the box. I saw that, hoping to be the winner. And as of this moment in the podcast, the announcement has not been made, but stay tuned to the end of the podcast, and if anybody's still listening, then they will know the winner of the FCH thread Shad crankbait, which is something every fastener professional would want for obvious reasons.
Absolutely. If I win, I just want lessons. So that was my...
Was there certain comments you were looking for? Like, did you wanted to know, what people thought? What was behind that?
Yeah. Well, basically what we did was we had an entry form for the thread Shad. And it asked the question, please provide us some commentary on FCH Sourcing Network or fully threaded radio and how we can improve. because that's what we're trying to do. Really, in 2019, we want to make some pretty big changes to the podcast and improvements, to the podcast and to the network. And of course, you have to listen to your users, right? So we thought, okay, this will be a vehicle to do that. So we put that form together, and we are still going through the entries just the way we put the podcast together. That's the way it works. So by the time we're done recording, we will know the winner and we'll have gone through all those. So I can't really comment on what kind of comments we've received.
Guess we have to wait. And you're only going to have one winner? Just one?
We're going to have one winner from the Fastener Show, right? But we have a few more on the shelf, so who knows? You never know. Maybe special podcast guests could receive one. I don't know. We'll have to talk about it, Bri.
I do admit I was missing the dog treats and I was missing the black T-shirts, but hopefully in the future.
We've had some interesting swag over the years.
Yeah, the dog treats are a bit of a problem because they really start degrading after one show. Okay, can't really keep them around, and if you transport them back, every time you move them from one show back to your house to store them, they all get broken up.
We might be able to work together with some coffee and dog biscuits, guys.
You're right. Actually, a lot of people made comments about our dog biscuits. They're a little awkward to deal with.
Yeah, it was a great idea. They were great while they lasted, but probably next to our refrigerator magnets that didn't stick to anything, that was our second major failure in the swag department, because the dog biscuits were great. People loved them, but they were hard to get home. A lot of people reported they got home, they had a little baggie of sand, basically. And they had a baggie, but we had a box full of it.
Right. We had a lot of it.
Well, I'm interested in ideas. Wi-Fi is going to have their 10-year anniversary next year in 2019. 10 years of Wi-Fi. Yeah, we're really excited about it. So we want to do something special. We're trying to figure out what. So if anybody has ideas, please email me, chairwoman@fastenerwomen.com, because I would love to make 10 years special.
Let's go back then in history. So 10 years. So Pam Berry was one of the founders, right? And then you also had
Mary Lou Otterman.
Mary Lou, right?
That's right. Yep.
Very excited. We want to do a feature of all the past presidents that we had at Wi-Fi, because without them, it wouldn't be what it is today. We have a lot of strong women in our industry, and I just think featuring these people are going to be great.
Wow, we haven't seen Mary Lou. You're right. She was. I remember when that all started up.
She retired.
Yeah.
A lot of good people are retiring, so we're hoping the new generation, especially the YFPers, are going to come into the Wi-Fi section.
Yeah, we need them to be very active. Actually, we also need them to be working very hard and earning lots of money so they can pay taxes on them. Okay, as those of us get older.
Yeah, us downhillers on the YFP.
The older YFPers is what you're saying, Brian Musker, senior YFPer. I like that.
Just out of curiosity, how long have you guys been in the industry, Brian and Eric?
We started FCH more than 12 years ago.
A little over 06. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's great.
And still people don't know who we are. So some parts aren't that great, Rosa.
Still working on that.
Yeah, we're still working on letting everyone know what we do.
Yes, I did hear that in the last episode.
Yeah, I was just going to say, listen to episode 133 for details on our ongoing tribulations with that whole endeavor.
Right.
We are all a work in progress, no matter personal, professional. So I wouldn't take it too hard.
Oh no! If I took it personally, I would have slipped my wrist long ago.
Don't do it, Bri. There's far cleaner ways.
Okay, I won't. You're right.
Step away from the edge.
Well, Rosa Hearn, you are obviously a huge proponent of Wi-Fi. You're also Rosa the Riveter, working hard on behalf of Brighton Best International, and you were at the Fastener Show this year. You gave us your thoughts and your experiences. We appreciate that. Jake Davis, you're the head honcho over there at BTM Manufacturing. needless to say, you're a great and valued sponsor of Fully Threaded Radio. We appreciate that. And you guys, as you pointed out, Rosa, are a duo that I think the fastener industry enjoys hearing from. So thank you for once again doing one of your show reviews with us.
Oh, well, thank you for having us.
Very much.
It is always a pleasure, and hopefully we can do it again.
Despite the adequate signage on the show floor, my gut tells me that we're going to see both of you out there again next year, as well as you, Bri. And especially if we don't even bother tweeting it, it'll have no effect. You'll still show up. That's good to know.
You're right. At least something's constant, okay?
So Brighton Best and Wi-Fi will be at Fastener Tech and Fastener Fair USA for sure. So stop by the booth so we can say hi.
Right on. Good. FCH and Fully Threaded too. Jake?
Likewise.
Right on.
Yep. I've got some stuff planned for I've got an SFA board meeting next week, headed down there for about 2.5 days, and then SFA spring conference last week, February in Galveston, and then turn around. I'm going to go head west for the PAC West NFDA Midwest Fastener Association joint conference. So really looking forward to that.
Look forward to seeing you all there.
Yeah, well, tune up your pipes for the SFA because that's karaoke city, from what I hear.
Yeah, I can't compete with Barron, so there's just no way. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy.
I heard you guys are going to honor Mary Chambers.
Yeah, we have. I'm headed down there for a board meeting, and we have a happy hours social event next Tuesday in Grapevine, Texas, and we are honoring her at that event. I think that runs from like 6 to 8. Grapevine Craft Brewery in Grapevine, Texas. So.
No, that's wonderful. Well, she won our 2018 Woman of the Year for Wi-Fi. So it's amazing that you're doing that. Thank you.
That runs from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So if you're in the area, come on out. So I might even have some coffee.
Well, we're definitely going to be there at the PAC West NFDA Midwest for sure. I think 18 of us are actually going out for that from Brighton Best.
Wow, it's really scaling down by Brighton standards.
That's a home game for them.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think I said San Diego and everybody raised their hand. So
I would too.
Yeah, something tells me that's going to be a big win for all three of those organizations. Well, I hope this has been a big win, this segment, ladies and gentlemen, for your greater understanding about what went down at the International Fastener Expo this year, or maybe it just killed a little bit of time while you're driving down the highway going to your next sales meeting. Who knows? But thanks for listening. And once again, Jake, Rosa, Brian, goes without saying, thanks for talking with us. And it looks like we're going to be seeing y'all real soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Pleasure.
We'll be back momentarily with more Fully Threaded Radio.
This isn't some kind of partially threaded radio show. Oh, no. This is Fully Threaded Radio. Talk radio for the fastener industry.
Are you tired of empty promises from software vendors? Are you paying for support that you're not receiving? Is it time for another paid upgrade? There is a solution. InSequel delivers quality software designed for the fastener industry at an affordable price with industry-leading support. Unlike other software companies, with InSequel, you purchase your software once. There will never be a paid upgrade. If you need assistance with anything, InSequel is there to help. When you call, you will always speak with a real person offering you quick and knowledgeable answers to your questions. Can your current provider say this? Quality software, affordable pricing, industry-leading support. Only InSequel can deliver all three. So why settle? Call InSequel Software at 877-446-9775 or visit www.inxsql.com.
ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations, from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
I need 5,000 3/4 10 by 9 and 3/4 grade 8 zinc yellow tap bolts right away, but they're not a standard size.
Solution Man Ken. I carry a wide variety of sizes and I can quickly cut them to any length. See Solution Industries' website for details at solutionind.com.
Using your bare hands?
I do use a saw on smaller parts, actually.
This is a traveling salesman at Fastener Talk, FastenerBlog.net, and you're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
So, Bri, after listening to that playback of the conversation with Jake and Rosa, I bet you're now really regretting that you didn't save your BTM Zarf.
I am, actually. Clearly, I wasn't paying enough attention to it to realise that what a prized equivalent fridge magnet I've been given. And this one actually works, unlike the fridge magnets we had. Okay.
Yep. Kept my hands nice and unburned.
Thanks, Jake.
That's okay. I'm sure he's going to have more U-Bolt blend coffee at the next Fastener event.
Yeah.
I highly suggest that everybody in the audience get out there when you see him.
Yeah. Actually, we spent some good time. Jake came over to the booth one moment. He had a bit of spare time, and we sort of sat and explained sort of how some of the bits of FCH work. I mean, in general, people don't have much of an idea of all the things that are available. But we explained how you can highlight your own inventory and stuff like that, and how important it is to renew your quantities, okay, or update them. Very important.
I suggest everyone get out to our Twitter feed, the handle Fully Threaded, and there's a few really nice photos, not many, but a couple, and one of them is you showing Jake standing in front of the Fastenertron, and of course, we're talking about the mighty FCH sourcing network. That's at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com, our main gig. That's what we were showing at this year's IFE. And it's really a good photo. There's also a really funny shot of the tapping of the keg. We played a little snippet at the very top of today's episode with Clayton Allen from Buckeye Fasteners. And there he is on our Twitter feed, standing there in his old rusty keg costume. It's quite a sight to behold.
Yeah. When I went over to have a talk to Clayton, he was in ordinary clothes at that stage, okay?
By that time, the keg had been tapped, apparently, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's probably empty by then.
The old rusty doesn't last long. Well, it was another successful Fastener show for Team FCH and FTR. Thanks to everybody who came out and visited with us. It's always great to see you. And thanks, as always, to our great lineup of sponsors. The title sponsor of Fully Threaded Radio is Stelfast. For service you deserve and people you trust, it's still Stelfast. Fully Threaded is also sponsored by Buckeye Fasteners, BTM Manufacturing, Fastener Technology International, InSequel Software, ND Industries, Parker Fasteners, The Worth Group, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. Hey, everybody. We always mention it, but the Twitter feed is Fully Threaded this time. As we said, get out there and check out a few of these photos. Or if you want to talk to us via email, the address is ftr@fullythreaded.com. Be glad to talk to you that way, too. Guess there's just one piece of Fastener show business left to clear up, Bri.
Right, I know. I was going to remind you that maybe you've forgotten something.
Who could forget? And if you sat through the whole show so far waiting for this moment, I have two things to say to you, and one of them is you can always scroll fast forward through the show, folks. Not that we want you to do that, but you can skip ahead and you can go back and forth. That's the beauty of random access podcasts.
And what's the other one?
Yes, well, the other is thanks to everyone who gave us such great suggestions. What we did for the FCH Thread Shad crankbait contest at the show was we asked everyone to give us suggestions on how we could improve FCH Sourcing Network or the Fully Threaded podcast, and we'd wade through those and select the best one. Now, I have to say that it was a difficult selection because we received a lot and there can only be one winner. But I will say this. There are still a few of the limited first edition FCH Thread Shad baits available, and everybody really digs these things, Bri. They're quite eye-catching, if I do say so myself. So you'll have further chances to win.
Right. And we don't want to give too many away because I haven't got my one yet, okay?
You put the other ones back in the crate when you shipped it back, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Well, I'll save one. Don't worry.
Right.
Although the fishing season is not quite over here in semi-rural Northeast Ohio, so I guess I shouldn't have said that. Okay, I'll save you one.
Okay.
Okay, so the moment you've all been waiting for, everybody, the winner of the first FCH Thread Shad contest. Brian, you want to read out the name?
Okay. Jeff Adams with a Wing Hamlin.
Dun-dun-dun.
Right.
Congratulations, Jeff, and thanks for the great suggestions.
Yeah, and very much in line with our view to make sure we have a very educated industry.
And I also happen to know that Jeff does, in fact, fish. And as a matter of fact, I think he wets a line with our buddy Dan Duffield occasionally, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yes, Dan does fish even when there's no ice, Bri.
Right, the exact opposite of me.
Well, thanks once again, everybody who participated in the contest, and thanks one and all for listening to this episode of Fully Threaded Radio. That's going to put this one in the can. We've got one more big episode for the 2018 season, Bri.
All right. It's going to be interesting squishing that one in, okay? We've got December's a bit of a strange month.
True, but aren't they all?
No, this one's weirder.
And to reinforce that, don't miss episode 135, everyone, because we have the perpetually weird, some would say, Kelly Cole joining us, along with Carmen Vertullo, talking about his new endeavor with AIM Labs. We'll also have an FTI year-end roundup for you folks, so don't miss it.
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting.
Well, I know you'll be here, Bri, so I'll just say at this point, for Brian Musker, this is Eric Dudas. Get out there, sell some screws, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, I didn't think Kelly Cole was that weird. I mean, he might wear shorts in the winter, but...
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.
Talking about the bar about a minute and an hour and a minute in, and Jake makes this comment.
Yeah, you cannot break your fun dial on the first night. I've learned from experience.
Opening the booth with blood pouring out of your eyes in the next morning is not good.